Me, Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
The Kings' 5-game win streak is over, but they're back in action again tonight against Pacific Division rival Edmonton, with 2 massive points on the line. Quinton Byfield scored twice when the teams last met 2 weeks ago, and capped off the game with the overtime winner.
In overtime, 4-3.
Kings, Oilers, tonight at 6:30, right here on 710 ESPN and the ESPN LA Kings Radio Network.
Hi, this is Sean McVay of your LA Rams. The Rams play here, KSPN, Los Angeles.
710 ESPN.
A good karma brands radio station.
Here we go, Monday, January 13th, 2025. Travis Rogers, DeMarco Farr. The Travis and DeMarco Show is on for your Monday. Well, we are back and happy to be on the radio today with you. We are happy to all be together and to take a step towards recovery and what's next today. And yeah, we got sports. We got Rams-Vikings, Wildcard Monday night tonight. We had chalk in the Wildcard over the weekend. Lakers will be back on the court tonight at Crypto.com. And the Kings on the ice up in Edmonton. And you with us. Let's do it. The Travis and DeMarco Show this Monday right now.
Andy Kamenetsky is in for DeMarco today. DeMarco is in Arizona getting ready for the wild card game tonight. Andy, good to see you. Thanks for pinch hitting for DeMarco this morning.
No, it's nice to be here.
Indeed it is.
It's a little bit weird to be here.
Indeed it is.
Like in terms of just figuring out getting back on air after everything that's happened, but I am very glad to be here as part of this process.
Yeah, me too. I'm very happy to be back at work. I'm very happy to be able to, for both of us, for you, for me, roars to you, Jorge, buenos dias.
Hi.
To be back on and provide whatever it is we do. If this is what you want, we're happy to be here. We're happy to be able to do it. We're going to talk about all the games. You heard Chris talk about that. We're going to talk about the wild card weekend. We're going to talk about what's coming up tonight. We're going to talk about the Lakers and all this great stuff. But we're also fully aware of what has been taking place over the last 4 or 5 days. It was really hard to
still
taking place. Good point. To not be here and not be able to be with all the people in our community, all of our great listeners. And I'm sure, like everybody out there, we here at 710, we know people that have lost property and have had all sorts of upheaval in their lives. So we're thinking of you. We're fully aware of what's going on out there, and we're here for you. For whatever it is that we do, Andy, we're going to do it today.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to explain. I think in some ways it's impossible to summarize what has been happening, what it means to you as an Angelino, as somebody who lives here, much less like to people that don't live here. Like, on Locked On Lakers, for example, we know that we have a big contingency of local listeners, but the Lakers are a worldwide brand.
Sure.
And one of the things we've talked about is like, it is impossible to understand this if you're not here. Just like the scope of the devastation and even trying to wrap your head around what a recovery even means, much less how you go about approaching it. But the idea that you can, hopefully, us today and everyone following today, and the Lakers playing tonight, the Clippers playing tonight locally, that you can, if nothing else, give this city something to center their emotions toward, and feeling even slightly more like it's eventually going to feel, for lack of a better way of putting it, okay again.
Yeah, and I think the games are a big part of that. And, I'm not going to make this about me, and because, thankfully my family and friends and everybody is safe. But we all, my grandparents grew up in or lived over on the west side of town near Pacific Palisades, and every picture that you see coming out of Malibu and the Palisades was very familiar to me, places that I'd spent a lot of time as a kid. And obviously the Eaton Fire in Altadena. I grew up in Arcadia, and that golf course that you saw on fire over and over and over again was something that I played a lot as a kid. And there's just, everybody has these similar emotions. And like you said, it's going to take a long time, and it's going to be a challenge and difficult and sad and uplifting at other times when you see, you're already starting to see some great stories about people helping one another. But it's a tough moment, but you keep moving forward. I guess.
I'm glad you brought up the idea, Travis, about helping each other, and it should be noted that tonight's Lakers game, they're having a donation drive that's going to be taking place for a while because over at the Crypt they're going to be having games now.
Yeah.
The Lakers are on a very long homestand. I was reminded earlier last week, Kareem I believe it was 1983. His house I believe it was in Malibu, burnt down. There was some type of, I believe, some kind of internal, I don't know what, electronic or whatever, but the house burnt down. And among the many things that Kareem lost was this really extensive collection of jazz albums. It was something like 3,000. For people who don't know this about Kareem, like he is like not just a jazz fanatic. He's like a jazz expert. He's written books on jazz. Like this is a passion for him. And Lakers fans began bringing albums to the Forum for Kareem, like to help him replace that collection, which, Kareem, it's been well documented, had a very reticent relationship a lot with fans. Like, Kareem has worked a lot over the years to be less closed off. And that was something that he said, like, really was touching for him, really helped make him realize how much he meant to this city and to this fan base. But also, too, it's a reminder that now is really a time to be kind to each other.
Yes.
Because there's a really good chance that you could run into somebody in this city right now who's going through something.
Oh, heck yeah. Absolutely. And it's we probably should have said this much sooner than we did. A big thanks to everybody, first responders, firefighters, police officers. Those, by the way, those guys that are flying those planes and those helicopters, oh my goodness. I mean, those guys are unbelievable doing what they do. So thank you to all of you guys and men and women that are doing what you do and keeping us safe and trying to save as much property as they can. And I can't imagine having to be in the middle of that, but thank you to everybody involved in that as well.
And I know a ton of my friends have all gone and volunteered. I know Laura on our station has gone and volunteered. There's places, around the Rose Bowl. But it's like Andy said, you see this amazing outpour of what is good in people. Like they had to turn away donations. There was almost too many donations. Like you just see the sheer amount of that LA has come to support these people that are lost. You see all these GoFundMes going up, and even if it's like $10, $5, like
every dollar helps.
It is so impactful to these families. One of our own teammates had his house burned down, and it's so scary. I've only lived in the city for 3.5 years now, 4 years almost, and I fall in love with the city, and it's really hard to see all these places that are just so made me feel so at home.
Sure.
Anyway, my heart breaks for the city.
Of course.
In a huge way.
It's devastating, and the pictures they're almost hard to wrap your head around when you see something that you've become familiar with, like you're talking about, Em, things that mean things to you, things that have such a positive emotional connection, whether it's in Malibu at the beach or whether it's in Pasadena or Eden Canyon, in these places that I grew up in that side of town, and you see it just gone. It's really, really difficult to see.
It's also this tragedy has been a real reminder that, like, LA, it has this reputation as this super glitzy, super wealthy, the elites type city. LA is a working class city. Like way more people in this city are working class, normal people. And yes, there have been a lot of really wealthy homes that have been lost in the Palisades and Malibu and that area. But there have been a lot of just working class, middle class homes lost. Forget Altadena and some of these other areas. I'm talking about in the Palisades.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In Malibu. Like, it's not all the 1%ers. And I think this tragedy has been a reminder of just how diverse this city is, not just in terms of ethnic heritage or anything like that. It's diverse in its wealth, and it's diverse in its means. And there's just been a lot of quote unquote normal people who've lost everything.
Absolutely.
Brenda and I used to work in Pasadena. Where Brenda worked in Pasadena, she's in the pharmacy business, and there's pharmacists whose families lost their homes. They don't have a place to stay, and then just imagine all those questions these people have now, like, what do they call home now?
Mm-hmm.
They don't even have an address right now. Who's gonna pay for all of this stuff at the end of the day? Like, do they get reimbursed? There's just so many questions up in the air. And something that also makes it difficult is having children at home. Like, I have a 6-year-old who we get an alarm on our phones and she freaks out. Like, like, do we have to leave? Are we in danger? And, trying to explain, to kids, at her age, that we're safe, and it's just the way she's dealing with it. She sees it on the news and stuff. It also affects them in a way. And then, I have friends who've been through hurricanes and stuff that who live in Miami and stuff. They reach out.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, man, listen, at the end of the day, you're not affected, but, we've been through some of this stuff. And luckily, this is all material stuff that can, somewhat be recovered. But again, homes, you can't.
No, you can still mourn that loss.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to try to help with a little bit today. And we're going to talk about the things that we talk about. We're going to do we'll start with this, Andy, that the NFL game tonight, the Rams game, is not at SoFi Stadium. It is at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. They moved it. They made the decision a few days ago. And reading the interview that Sam Farmer from the LA Times did with Roger Goodell and listening to some of the quotes from Kevin Demoff in that piece, that it seemed like a no-brainer. That at the time, the NFL really does not like to move stuff. Nobody does. The NBA, to cancel NBA games both at Crypto and Intuit, the decision, Kings games that go into the decision to cancel these things, they don't happen just, we'll pick it up another day. There's a lot more that goes into it than this. But especially with the Rams, and while it's difficult, and we'll talk about the ramifications that come along with moving something like this, the resources necessary to host an event like this are significant, and the resources are stretched about as thin as you could possibly do it right now. Not that you wouldn't like to have the game here, you would, but the decision to move it felt pretty obvious in the moment.
I mean, I'm not an expert on this, and I highly advise you see during this time a lot of people like on social or on news becoming armchair experts in this field. Just don't.
It's good advice.
I mean, really, just don't do it. But I imagine, just because it feels logical, the fact that the Rams aren't going to be playing in LA tonight makes it a bit easier for the Clippers and Lakers to play.
Yeah.
Just because in terms of resources not being diverted too much, and in particular with Intuit and SoFi being basically next to each other, like across the street from each other, you avoid that congestion of, just from the Rams alone, probably like 100,000 people when you take into account all the people in the stadium, workers, players themselves, police presence, all first responders that they have to be there in case of an emergency. I have no doubt that when it comes to the Lakers and Clippers, they took their cues from the city and from state of California, the experts. Like, this is not a matter of them trying to get the money back. Like,
no.
the revenue was going to happen. The games were going to happen one way or another. However many games needed to be rescheduled would be rescheduled. I'm sure they waited to be told this is okay. They got that go-ahead, and now we have these games tonight.
Especially, too, because SoFi is not a closed arena. There is open sides, and therefore the air quality, while right now might be better than we think it would be, the winds could change at any time. You want to protect people's lungs, protect our players' lungs. But I've seen all these videos of Rams fans loading up into vans, loading into buses.
It's really cool.
And I really want them to, make Arizona the Rams house for a second. It'll be a cool thing.
We'll talk about that coming up next. We'll talk about the road to Arizona, some of the visuals this morning of people loading into these buses to make the road trip out there. An old college teammate of mine got on one of the buses. He's super excited to go out there and see this. We'll talk about that, but we're gonna talk about the football. We're gonna talk about the basketball. We're gonna try to give you a little bit of an opportunity to think about something other than what's been happening right now, if that's indeed what it is that you are looking for. We're here from you. or we're here for you, I should say. We're thinking of you. Just because we're not talking about it every second of the day doesn't mean that it isn't at the front of our mind. It is affecting everybody in our city. And like Kim said, we love this place. This place is our home. For many of us, this is where we've grown up and spent the vast majority of our lives. And we're thinking of everybody out there that's been displaced and lost property and loved ones and everything else. We love you guys, and we're thinking about you. We'll talk about that Rams game on the road, Monday Night Football in Arizona against the Vikings. That's next. It's Trav. Andy's in for DeMarco on 710 ESPN.
By the California wildfires in 2025. Donate at redcross.org/ESPN. redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help people recover.
For ESPN LA contest rules, go to ESPNLA.com and click the contest button.
At Children's Hospital Los Angeles, we're a nationally recognized leader in pediatric care, honored by U.S. News and World Report as one of the best in the country. Here, we achieve amazing breakthroughs that change lives. From groundbreaking cancer therapies that offer new hope to young patients, to advanced heart procedures that save lives, we partner with families to conquer challenges and achieve extraordinary outcomes. Choose the best care for your child at chla.org.
Hey, LA, let's talk trash. Food waste, that is. Tossing your food scraps in the regular trash sends them to landfills where they release harmful gases like methane. Fight global warming by simply sorting your food scraps and placing them in your green bin. It's quick, it's easy, it helps protect our planet. Ready to do your part? Visit cleanla.com or call 888-CLEAN-LA for more tips. This message funded by Cal Recycle.
Bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, crowd rocking for Rotolo Chevrolet's top hitter, Mike Capozio. He's facing off with the Bulldog, and these two have quite the history. Here's the pitch. Oh, and he got all of it. That ball is out of here like a red Corvette, and it's going, and going, and going. Yes!
Dad, are you having that dream again?
Come see what the fun is all about at Rotolo Chevrolet.
Next Gen is the official plumbing, heating, and AC company of SoCal sports fans. That's right. Next Gen is the absolute best in the biz with thousands of 5-star reviews online to prove it. Looking for an all-star deal on home comfort? Call Next Gen. For just $14.99 a month, you'll score year-round coverage on all of your plumbing, heating, and AC needs. You heard it right. For just $14.99 a month, you'll experience coverage and comfort all season long. No unexpected timeouts, just total peace of mind. As a Next Gen member, you'll enjoy complimentary multi-point inspections, cooling tune-ups, plumbing and safety inspections, and exclusive members-only savings. Plus, you'll have a VIP guaranteed 2-hour priority service appointment. Sign up today to become a Next Gen VIP. Don't miss out. Call 833-3-NEXT-GEN. Next Gen is the only name you need to remember for comfort and reliability all season long. That's 833-3-NEXT-GEN or visit nextgenaaronplumbing.com.
NEXGEN, call 833-3-NEXT-GEN.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Time out. Your body goals don't have an off season. GNC is ready to help you get a stronger start on the new year with help building more muscle and proven weight loss support. Need a boost? We're ready with GNC vitamins for your longest winter days. Want the best energy drinks? They're at GNC. Never tried creatine before? Get ready to be amazed. GNC coaches are ready to help you in stores everywhere, and you can shop our full collection of flavors and online exclusives at GNC.com. GNC, live well.
And it is the Travis and DeMarco Show. On this Monday, we're back. Happy to be on the radio today with you. So be part of the show, and we'll all get through this step by step. Remember, redcross.org/ESPN, the LA County Regional Food Bank, and lafoodbank.com. Our friends at Cosm tonight, hosting a Rams watch party, all proceeds going to the LAFD Foundation. help where you can. And of course, so many GoFundMes out there for the victims of the 2025 Southern California wildfires. Right now, we get back to the Travis and DeMarco Show on 710.
Second that as well, if you can, please help. And every little bit makes a difference, and there are multiple places you can go to offer your support as well. We're here talking about everything that's going on, and of course talking about what's happened over the last couple days as well. Andy Kamenetsky filling in for DeMarco, who is in Arizona getting ready for tonight's game. And there were some great videos this morning of all the buses getting loaded up to drive out there to load up a bunch of Rams fans out in the desert. And we'll talk about that in just 1 second. But some breaking NFL news. Mike McCarthy is out in Dallas. This according to ESPN.com. Mike McCarthy is not expected to return as the Dallas Cowboys head coach and is now set to become a free agent. Source told ESPN's Adam Schefter on Monday. McCarthy's contract with the Cowboys expired last Wednesday, but the team held an exclusive negotiating window with the coach until Tuesday at midnight. However, the sides have not had any negotiations regarding a new deal, sources told Schefter on Monday. So Mike McCarthy is out. Add Dallas to the list of open jobs. So now we, with the Vrabel being hired in New England, we are down to New Orleans, Chicago, Las Vegas, the Jets, Jacksonville, and Dallas all have NFL openings.
And does
at
Dallas
this point.
jump to the top as the best option? Bears are the best option?
I still think it's the Bears because of the quarterback and the weapons that they have, but Dallas is a close second. The only reason Dallas isn't the best option is because of Jerry.
Well, but that's a really big
sure it is.
reason.
Sure
you know
it
what I mean?
is.
Like bad owner or intrusive owner, meddlesome owner, all of which can be applied to Jerry Jones.
Yes.
Like, he was recently asked if he would, let go of the GM title, and his response was basically, go bleep yourself. Like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not going to.
He's been doing it for 30 years.
Right.
If he was going to let it go, we would have let it go by now.
That's part of his response was basically, I've gotten us this far by doing it my way. And it's become really clear that unless you believe in Jerry Jones's vision as a GM, you are capped at that hindrance.
Yes.
And it's become very clear it's a decided hindrance.
It is. He's a weird case study because he checks two of the three boxes that I think you want to have in an owner, in any owner, really. You want somebody that's willing to spend money. Jerry spends money.
Yeah.
You want somebody that wants to win. I know that sounds obvious, but it's not an automatic check that box. Jerry wants to win. And and the third box is, are you willing to get the hell out of the way so the other two things can go happen?
This is the problem with Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones wants to win, but he does not want to win more than he wants to win his way.
Yes, I agree.
And until winning anyway is more important to him than winning his way, unless he just happens to land on the right equation one year when it comes to assembling your roster, landing on the coach, I guess telling the coach the right things to do, whatever. He is always going to cap how great an opportunity the Cowboys
Let
are.
me ask you this. You know a lot of 82-year-olds that change?
Nope.
You know a lot of 82-year-olds that wake up in the morning and say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to reevaluate everything I've been doing, especially if that 82-year-old is a billionaire and every single thing they've touched turns to platinum, right?
Well, everything they used to touch.
Well, look, Jerry, I understand they haven't won the Super Bowl in 30-some-odd years. Jerry is successful by literally every other possible metric in the universe.
That's not what I'm saying, though. He is clearly successful by any reasonable standard in the universe.
Yeah.
But it's been a long time since Jerry just touched it, it turned to platinum.
Yeah.
That particular piece of it, it's been a minute.
This is why the Rams, I think, are in the perfect ownership spot. Stan Kroenke got money? Yeah. More than just about anybody, really. Does he want to win? Clearly, right? The Nuggets win, the Avs win, the Rams win. Tell me what soccer team is he? Arsenal that he has? Arsenal. I don't know if they win, but I know they're really, really
very
good.
good every year, but don't win the big one.
So he wants to win. Does he stay out of the way? You tell me the last time you heard Stan Kroenke say something. He doesn't say very much, right? I mean, he's not an absentee owner, but he's not front and center like Jerry Jones is.
I mean, the most out front and center I can recall Stan Kroenke being, other than I guess if you want to count the building of SoFi, is the way he essentially nuked his way out of St. Louis.
Yeah.
I mean, like that, and that was a period where Stan Kroenke had to be very willing, and he was to be the bad guy in this relationship, like optically. But since then, he lays back and lets Les Sneed and lets Sean McVay run things because he knows they know more about football than I do. I know more about making money and signing checks than they do.
Yes.
Let's all stay in our lane.
This is the Jerry Buss model, right? This was the, I know how to make money. I know how to put together a deal. When it comes down to making a tough call, I'm willing to do it. But here, Jerry West, go do your thing. You know, Mitch Kupchak for a long period of time, go do your thing. I'm going to put people that I trust in positions of authority and let them do their thing, and it works really well.
And now we've had this cycle, 2 Super Bowl winning head coaches get the boot, and Doug Peterson and Mike McCarthy.
Oh,
and
Peterson too, yeah.
And now what's left in the league of Super Bowl winning head coaches? We have Mike Tomlin, we have Andy Reid,
McVay.
we have McVay, and we have Harbaugh. Is there anyone else I'm missing? That's only 4 coaches in the league that have won a Super
Tomlin,
Bowl.
Harbaugh, McVay. Who's the other one? And Carroll's gone.
Reid.
I already said Reid, yeah.
Sean Payton.
And Sean Payton. So there's 5 Super Bowl winning head coaches left in the league. It doesn't really mean as much anymore because the most recent ones are all Reid and McVay.
I'm not going to lie. I completely forgot that Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. Like,
well, look,
when you mentioned
it's
him, I
a
was like,
forgettable moment.
I was like, Doug Peterson's not won a Super Bowl. Oh, no, he has, actually.
Philly.
And that was such a weird Super Bowl, too, because it was a high-scoring Super Bowl. They beat the Patriots. It was Nick Foles. It was a whole lot of stuff.
That game, oddly, has a Rams connection to it. The reason Nick Foles was the quarterback of that Super Bowl winning team is because down the street at the Coliseum, Carson Wentz, who was probably going to win the MVP that year, is heading into the end zone, peristyle into the Coliseum, and he gets blown up the goal line. His knee gets destroyed, and he's out for the rest of this. By the way, never been the same ever since. And here comes Nick Foles. And I remember Nick Foles, I think the injury happened maybe middle of the third quarter, something like that. And he could, okay, good, we got the backup. You're going to add it. And Nick Foles was just like, dude, this guy's pretty good. And he didn't miss a trick the rest of the way. He leads them into the playoffs. They win the Super Bowl. But that whole Super Bowl run for the Eagles started in a game against the Rams. So tonight, Vikings and Rams, kickoff is at 5. Pregame show starts at 3 o'clock. Kirk Morrison and I will have you for that. It was the Rams already had a really tough assignment in getting a 14-win wild card opponent. You know, that doesn't happen very often. I don't know if it's ever happened before where the team that is the air quote, underdog, or at least the road team, is a 14-team win that only needed to win the last game of the season to be the number 1 seed and have a bye through the rest of this. And now not only do you get that as your opponent, but you have to go to a neutral site in Arizona to do it. And I know they're going to paint the field Rams colors. They're bussing in Rams fans. But this is just a bizarre set of circumstances. And I guess if there's a silver lining is I have more faith in Sean McVay to get his team ready than just about anybody. The Rams, oddly, in a way, have had a quasi prep for this with what happened several years ago where there was fires, there was a shooting, and they had a couple of games between the Seahawks and the Chiefs right on the heels of that where they were displaced. They had to go train somewhere else. They were supposed to be in Mexico, came back. So they have some familiarity with trying to figure things out on the fly, but what a bizarre set of circumstances.
They're also used to not really having a home field advantage, like a decided home field advantage. Like when a couple weeks ago when I filled in for Kirk when we were doing the Cardinals-Rams game, we noted that this was one of the few times where the other team's colors was not flooding SoFi.
Yes.
I mean, there's one of the few times where it was decidedly blue and yellow, and Vikings fans will travel.
Well, it's funny because the Vikings came here earlier in the year, and you and I were at the postgame show together at Hollywood Park Casino, and the Rams won the game. And the Rams, it was a close first quarter, but the Rams started to pull away towards the middle of the second half, and there were Viking fans there. but they weren't particularly demonstrative because they never really had reason to be demonstrative.
They're polite Midwesterners.
But I think that's it, too. I know you're making a joke, but I really do think there's something to Midwest nice, especially Minnesota nice.
Look, we work with Mike Trudell. It's a bunch of Trudells out there in their Vikings hats yelling Skol.
Very nice, very complimentary, and maybe it was because they didn't play all that well, but I do think the Rams would have had a home field advantage had it been at SoFi, but I agree with your point that the Rams frequently
they're
are
not
50-50.
losing. They're not losing a massive home field advantage.
This isn't Buffalo
Right.
that's going to Vegas or
exactly.
something like that.
And it's obviously, there are much bigger issues in terms of why they have to move in the first place, and you play the game however you can play the game. I'm just saying, when you start thinking about all the different variables that could affect this game for the Rams, I don't think losing this game in LA is as big of a deal as it would be for just about every other team in the playoffs.
Right. But if you are Rams fans going there, be loud, be proud,
Heck yeah.
get up there. I know they're selling LAFD shirts on the Rams website. If you go to the Rams page, they have an. I bought one the other day, and all the proceeds go to Los Angeles Fire Department. I believe it also maybe goes to people in need affected by the fires. But, be proud. They're going to have, all the – who's the guy who does the stadium sound, the announcer? PA
Sam
guy?
Lagana.
Sam Lagana will be there.
Nice.
The guitar will be there. Nita's going to be there.
Let's go.
They painted the field.
Nita.
Nita Strauss.
It's going to be great.
She's the best.
It's basically going to make Arizona Rams house.
Yeah.
We when we were watching that game, I told you, you got to watch Fury Road.
Oh, you're right.
No, she is Fury Road, the guitar
Yeah.
people on the
Yes, you've got to watch Mad Max Fury Road, and you'll understand, she really is a character from that movie.
Oh, that's great. So I did not know Nita's going to be there, that Sam is going to be the voice of State Farm Stadium tonight. That's all great. And a reminder, if you are able, please help people that have been affected by the California wildfires that are taking place right now. You can donate at redcross.org/ESPN. That's redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help people recover. The Rams are going to get to go to Philadelphia next. That's the winner of this game will go take on the Eagles in the divisional round. One very specific thing needs to happen tonight. That's coming up next. Andy's in for DeMarco, 710 ESPN.
One and only Dr. Monica Madden from Beverly Hills Ortho. Hi, Dr. Madden.
Hi, thanks for having me. This is exciting.
All right, let's get to why we want everybody to listen carefully, because you have a special offer for ESPN LA listeners. Tell me about it.
We're really happy to be part of the ESPN LA family and so grateful for everyone listening right now. We are giving the first 5 people who register now and every time this airs $1,000 off Invisalign or braces treatment. Just go to BeverlyHillsOrtho.com and enter the code SMILE and you're on your way.
So enter the code SMILE at BeverlyHillsOrtho.com and I could get $1,000 off Invisalign?
Yes, absolutely.
And what if I wanted to just call the office? Can I get the offer that way?
Yes, absolutely. Just say SMILE and you heard it on ESPN.
877-7 Let's Do This.
Yes.
Or, Monica, as I like to say, BeverlyHillsOrtho.com.
Hey guys, it's Sedano. Now here's an important message from my friend, Jacob Emrani.
I'm Jacob Emrani. Horrific wildfires are tearing through our community, and it's hard to know what steps to take next. Our family's safety should be our #1 priority. But when disaster strikes, navigating insurance claims shouldn't be another burden. Let us take that weight off your shoulders. Call us today for an expert support and guidance, because you deserve someone who'll fight for you while you heal.
Call Jacob.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text TAP to 321321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text TAP to 321321. That's TAP to 321321.
And it is the Travis and DeMarco Show. On this Monday, we're back. Happy to be on the radio today with you. So be part of the show. And we'll all get through this step by step. Remember, redcross.org/ESPN, the LA County Regional Food Bank, and lafoodbank.com. Our friends at Cosm tonight, hosting a Rams watch party. All proceeds going to the LAFD Foundation. Help where you can. And of course, so many GoFundMes out there for the victims of the 2025 Southern California wildfires. Right now, we get back to the Travis and DeMarco Show on 710.
So what is on tap today on 710 ESPN? Thanks to our friends at Michelob Ultra. The Rams, of course, are hosting the Vikings for our Wildcard Monday night at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Of course, that game got moved because of all of the fires here in the LA area. Coverage begins at 3 o'clock on 710. And, of course, the ESPN LA app. The Lakers are back on the court tonight. They are hosting the San Antonio Spurs. Coverage for the game will be on AM 830 KLAA. That is at 6 o'clock. And 790 KABC, and of course on the all-new ESPN LA app. Plus, Kings Oilers at 6 on the app as well. Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs, 35 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Kings can't beat the Oilers, at least in the playoffs. 3 years in a row. That's a weird deal. Imagine getting clipped by the same team 3 years in a row in the postseason. That's a tough one.
I'm concerned that could happen with the Lakers in Denver.
It could, yeah.
I mean, look, I don't remember if it was 3 years in a row, but I know Laker fans from like the mid to late 90s can remember losing a couple seasons in a row to the Jazz. I always felt like
That's
the Jazz had their number. San Antonio knocked them out a couple times.
I mean, the Bills and the Chiefs, I guess it's not like every single year, but it feels like almost every year.
The Bills and the Chiefs, I don't know if we're going to get it again this year. We'll talk about it coming up in a little bit. That Baltimore-Buffalo game feels like the game of the year. It feels like whoever wins that is the front runner to go win the whole Super Bowl. And then Kansas City's like, yeah, cool. We're the number 1 seed. We'll just be sitting here waiting for the winner to come, and we'll probably win that one too.
I don't understand how they're doing this. Like every time I've watched the Chiefs play, I'm like, they're not that good. They don't look that good.
They certainly don't look how you expect them to look. If that's a way, like you expect them to be, Mahomes, dink, 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 touch. They're grinded out. They're kind of defense. Mahomes is still amazing, but they're not this. Hey, they're going to score 50 unless she's getting. They feel exceedingly vulnerable. They lost one game.
No, they
lost one game.
There's some sorcery
2 games,
happening.
but the other one was
they lost one game that they tried to win.
Okay.
They lost one game they tried to win.
There's some sorcery happening with that team this year. Like they're basically trying to prove an experiment, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It's Tay Voodoo.
Yeah, like how little can we put into a season? Like really playing our best. Like how little can we actually prep for the playoffs?
Okay, but yes, but if this team were like 10-7 and backdoored a wild card appearance, and it's like, then they'd be hey, listen, man, they know how to win these games. But it feels like you're talking about they lost one game.
I know.
That doesn't teams that are awesome lose 4 or 5 games.
I don't get it.
It doesn't make any sense. Here's what the Rams need to do to win the night, Andy. They need to score points in the first quarter.
Yes, they do.
They need to score points in the first quarter because if you listen to Locked on Rams, which it's pretty good. I don't know if you've heard about it.
It's available 5 days a week.
Never behind a paywall.
No, it's always free.
You get your podcast.
For the sickos who like to watch, I believe
there's a
YouTube component.
I've said this on Locked on Rams a million times. The Rams' best game of the season, most complete game of the season, was against Minnesota. I know they scored a bunch of points against Buffalo and beat Josh Allen, which is super impressive, but that was more of an offensive masterpiece than it was a complete game. The Minnesota game, they played well on both sides of the ball. But what they did more than anything else in that game, they scored early and often. Minnesota takes the opening kickoff. They drive down the field, touchdown. And then you're like, oh, boy, here we – and Justin Jefferson had a couple of catches. Now you're like, uh-oh. Rams went right back and scored a touchdown, 7-7. Minnesota gets the ball back. They go right down the field. They score a touchdown again. You're like, oh, boy, here we go. Rams get the ball back and score a touchdown as well. The first 4 possessions all ended in touchdowns, but it didn't – and then all of a sudden the defense is kind of settled in, but the Rams' offense continued to produce. I really do think if – I don't want to say survive the first quarter because that's probably the wrong word, but if they can have a lead at the end of the first quarter, I'm going to feel much better about this game than I do sitting here right now because they've struggled. I think they averaged like 1.5 points in the first quarter over the course of the season. They just don't score early and often.
Well, here's the thing, too. I think they, especially on the heels of the last few weeks where their offense has really been stagnant, I think they need evidence of we can get this thing going. Like we can actually turn it on because you don't want to all of a sudden find yourself in the second half needing to score and not actually like, in the back of your heads, in your heart of hearts, knowing for sure we can do it.
With this young defense, too, a lot of them, their first time in the playoffs. Most of them. Either that first or second time in the playoffs. Yeah. So it's going to be a little probably jittery against a really good team.
They have the formula that look at what happened last night in Tampa. Okay. And by the way, I'm officially all in on Baker Mayfield. I'm hand in the air. I'm a Baker Mayfield fan. I love that guy. I know he had a bad fumble last night, but he's super fun to watch and I root for Baker Mayfield. But look at what happened to Washington. They went from just an absolute tire fire of an organization. What up, Dan Snyder? To a team that has a competent head coach. Say what you want about Dan Quinn. Is he Andy Reid? Probably not. But does he know what he's doing? Yeah, he does. He knows what he's doing. And they got a good quarterback. They got a quarterback that's a difference maker. That's what the Rams have tonight. They've got a highly competent head coach, and they will have the better quarterback on the field tonight. I'll take my chances with that combination just about every time.
You know what, though? You mentioned the quarterback in this with Stafford, and that piece of it always matters. I actually think what's going to be really telling is in the first quarter, scoring all of that, how well are they going to be able to establish Kyren Williams? Because Minnesota's run defense has been one of the best in the league all season, and Kyren Williams has been the best offensive player for the Rams over the last few weeks or so. Like, he, especially once, I know this has been a big pet peeve of yours, understandably, the fumbling issue. Once that's been put in the rear view, he's been awesome.
He's been terrific. Look, if I had a concern for tonight with regards to what you're talking about, when they don't have success on the ground, McVay quickly goes to plan B. And it's like 1st and 10. First drive of the game for the Rams, 1st and 10. Turn around, give it to Kyren Williams, 2nd and 9.5. Okay, we're going to throw it 64 times in a row. That's what it feels like when they go
But here's the thing, though. Like, as much as Matt Stafford, over the course of his career and in terms of overall accomplishments, you may trust him more. Just the idea of we have a really big game. I trust Matthew Stafford. In terms of who do I trust more right now because they're playing better, it's Kyren Williams, and it's not close.
Yeah, Puka's been terrific since he came back, too. And maybe they haven't been scored a ton of points, but he's been the guy that's kind of been able to do it. And especially when you put it next to what Minnesota is going to be throwing out there. I'm a Sam Darnold fan. I liked him at SC. I think he got a terrible deal in New York. I think he got a terribler deal in Carolina. And
how bad it's got to be to be worse than the Jets?
Exactly.
Like,
and
it was real bad.
And I think it was. And then in San Francisco, he really didn't get a chance to play. He's backup. He's finally in a good position and a good team. He's got the right coach. He's got weapons. And he had time to just grow some roots in the job. He wasn't constantly what's going to happen next. Old Sam Darnold showed up against Detroit. He looked sped up. He looked like he had the big eyes a little bit. And I'm not so sure that isn't exactly – DeMarco and I disagreed on this last week, that he was like, no, they're going to get that fixed. Okay, but I don't know if you can get fixed it's happening again. I don't know about you, but sometimes when things are going really well and you're like, okay, this is working, I fix this, I've done this. And then the thing that kind of triggers all of the bad habits is like, I immediately, like, it's happening again. I understand I'm not a professional athlete, but I'm a human being. And I think human beings are mostly wired the same way. And once the bad things that always prevented you from success start to pop up again, I'm not so sure they won't continue to pop up, or at least that's my hope tonight.
He also got rocked in that game against the Lions. He was hit all the time, hit on almost every play, it felt like. And let's not forget this. So everyone was talking...
Because he holds the ball for so long.
Right. Sean McVay rested all his starters on the last week of the season. And everyone questioned that, hey, maybe you should play to get to a different seed. He rested his players. They hadn't had a bye since week 6. That's an incredibly early bye.
Right.
Matthew Stafford is older, and Cooper Kupp is older. Maybe they need this bye to get back. Maybe they were actually just worn out at the end of the season instead of having a bad offense.
Something interesting, too, like Sam Darnold has never been to the playoffs before. This is going to be his...
That's, yeah.
I was surprised, too, but I just...
But then you think about it, Jets, as you know what, aren't going to the playoffs. Carolina, as you know what, isn't.
And it wasn't going to be playing when the
Not
Niners
unless
went to the
weird
playoffs.
happened, yeah.
Like, I was a little bit surprised, too, but then once I learned that, it made sense. The last time, though, that we've seen Sam Darnold in anything resembling a playoff game.
Rose
Bowl.
Yeah.
And he was fantastic.
He was terrific. Yeah, he threw for like 500 yards.
I was at that game. It was an amazing game. And long time ago. Like, there's been a lot of time in between that Rose Bowl and now.
He's taken a lot of shots and thrown a lot of picks between then and now.
But, again, small sample size. Yep. His one sample size, though, in a big game that really mattered, he was awesome.
All right. Emily mentioned a very important person if the Rams are going to win tonight. That's coming up next. It's Trav. It's Andy, 710 ESPN. Hey, is your car ready for its service? Look at that little sticker in your window, right? Is it telling you it's time? Why not head into your neighborhood Valvoline Instant Oil Change, home of the 15-minute drive-through oil change? Because for over 30 years, Valvoline has been providing quick and convenient automotive maintenance services for busy people just like you. You don't have to get out of your car at Valvoline. You stay in your car nice and safe, nice and relaxed, while the expert technicians make sure that your ride is running at its absolute best. Oil changes, tire rotations, transmission care, and more. Just pull up, drive in, and drive out in about 15 minutes. Wipers, too. If we ever get rain again, you're going to want to make sure that your windshield wipers are at their best as well. That way you don't get that terrible sound. 80 locations in and around Southern California, helping you get your ride ready for the road in no time. Here's how you find one of those 80 spots. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for one of those locations and get yourself some game-winning coupons for your next Valvoline Instant Oil Change.
If you're able, please help people affected by the California wildfires in 2025. Donate at redcross.org/ESPN. redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help people recover.
You never expect a Hail Mary pass to win and end the game or getting into an accident. Hey, it's Trav with DeMarco.
Only one all-star defense team you can call to defend you. The personal injury law offices of Joseph S. Normand. Visit normandlegal.com or call 213-747-2000.
Don't get sacked by others. Joseph will help you achieve the maximum compensation you deserve. Visit normandlegal.com or call 213-747-2000. That's 213-747-2000.
Let Joseph and his team score a touchdown for you.
When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. We are ranked number 18 in the nation and number 1 in Orange County for orthopedic and spine care by U.S. News & World Report. From the surf to the green, our world-class doctors are there, which is why more Californians choose Hoag Orthopedic Institute for orthopedic and spine care more than any other hospital. At Hoag Orthopedic Institute, there is no one better at getting you back to you. Proudly founded by premier physicians in partnership with Hoag. Learn more at HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions.
today's MVP, Emily Neal's 70-inch TV. Because after watching her second-grade students yell at each other for hours, there's nothing Emily enjoys more than watching super rich housewives also yell at each other. Why? Because those women are not her responsibility. And that's why her TV is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
And it is the Travis and DeMarco Show. On this Monday, we're back. Happy to be on the radio today with you. So be part of the show. And we'll all get through this step by step. Remember, redcross.org/ESPN, the LA County Regional Food Bank, and lafoodbank.com. Our friends at Cosm tonight, hosting a Rams watch party. All proceeds going to the LAFD Foundation. Help where you can. And of course, so many GoFundMes out there for the victims of the 2025 Southern California wildfires. Right now, we get back to the Travis and DeMarco Show on 710.
Andy and I, of course, like to second that message. Anything you can do to help, greatly appreciated. So if you get a chance, ESPN, or I should say redcross.org/ESPN is a great place to make a donation.
I also want to mention a very specific GoFundMe. Darian Vaziri, who is the host of Locked On Clippers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, his family home in, I believe, the Palisades area burned down. Darian is a great guy. He is a passionate LA sports fan, like, period. And there's a link to a GoFundMe that you can find on my Twitter thread at Cam Brothers. I have this verified. It is directly from a source, because this is worst people on the planet. There was actually somebody on Twitter impersonating Darian, trying to solicit PayPal donations. I mean, which is just special place in hell for those people. But this link for the GoFundMe for Darian, I know is real. If you can contribute, please try. Or
indeed,
again, if it's not for Darian, for somebody.
And again, anything small matters for these families that are trying to rebuild their lives, and also just for the general people in Los Angeles. And just be careful about your own health too. I've been wearing my mask if I'm going outside, just in case because it's not just like a bonfire smoke getting into your lungs. It's when things burn through. They burn cars. They burn carcinogens. Just make sure you wear your mask. Protect yourself if you have it. N95 masks are, if you see smoke, use that.
Indeed. It's we're here for you. We're talking about what we talk about, but you're never far from our thoughts, and we'll continue to give you any updates that come up over the course of the day. And I wonder, tonight, the Vikings and Rams game starts at 5 o'clock. Pregame show starts at 3 o'clock right here on 710. This could be a galvanizing moment where everybody comes together, bands together, and do it for the city of Los Angeles, and everybody's kind of pulling at the same end. You get kind of that collective energy from people that don't have a rooting interest that maybe decide, hey, I'm going to root for LA today because of everything that's going on. Or is it just, guys, there's just so many moving parts over the last week that I don't care how much you care and try and advance this. And, there's a great thing in the LA Times this morning about all of the great ways that the Arizona Cardinals were helping the Rams to get situated in Arizona to kind of do all this. But at some point, just when you have your life turned upside down and inside out like this, there really isn't a way to kind of get back to the main thing. We'll find out in a few hours, I guess.
I don't know exactly how it's going to play out. I just know that we will have very definitive opinions about why.
Oh, yeah.
Afterwards.
And, look, maybe it's they win because they're the better team. Maybe they lose because they're not the better team. But, we'll fill in the blanks accordingly.
Yeah,
right?
Look, I remember when the Lakers played the first game after Kobe's passing in 2020. Mm-hmm. It was a very emotionally difficult game for both the Lakers and the Blazers. I mean, that was the team that they played at then Staples. Dame Lillard had a relationship with Kobe. He went off in that game, but you could see how emotionally difficult. I'll never forget that image of all those guys watching the pregame tribute to Kobe and Quinn Cook crying and LeBron having that arm around Quinn, and that was really difficult to get through. We talked about, though, the Rams in 2018 having to play a game a week removed from both a mass shooting and wildfires in the Thousand Oaks area where the Rams used to be located. And I wrote a piece at the time. I was working for The Athletic covering the Lakers, but I wrote a few Rams pieces, And those guys talked to me, like Andrew Whitworth and other guys.
Whitworth is a big part of that.
Well, he was a big part of it, but they also said, like, we never really realized a connection to this community because, in all honesty, those guys were living in Thousand Oaks because that's where HQ was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, most athletes of means, and I don't mean this to disparage Thousand Oaks, I'm talking about just geography. It is very far from what you would do in LA.
Yeah.
And most of these guys, it was basically their commuter spot. And they came to realize, like, wow, we are really a part of this community. And I do think it was a galvanizing force for them in the next couple games they played. So you never know how it'll play out.
You never know. And it's going to come down to, there's no good transition to go from, the devastation of these fires just to the X's and O's of football, but it's going to come down to the X's and O's of football. You got to block this guy. You got to throw it to this guy.
Yeah.
You got to make a good decision to get it to that guy. And I don't think it'd be surprising to anybody that's a casual Rams fan. I think it might be a little bit more surprising to somebody that's really paid close attention to this team this year. Cooper Kupp needs to have a night tonight. Cooper Kupp needs to be – he has not had a Cooper Kupp-type season. He's been really quiet. And look, this is what happens to players at a certain age and a certain time. But you also get guys that are great players, and Cooper Kupp certainly is a great player, that can kind of flip the switch on any given night and summon one of those performances, because I expect Puka to have a good night. I expect Kyren to have a good night. I expect Matthew Stafford to have a good night. If they're going to win, those guys have to have a good night. But to make it as easy on them as possible, Cooper Kupp needs to be a couple of those third and cup plays that Kirk and I talk about all the time. We're going to have to get a couple of those where number 10 is really involved in what they're doing tonight.
There is a reason that when the Rams were below 500 and heading closer to the trade deadline, wondering what the Rams should do, that Cooper Kupp's name came up as one of the flashpoint guys. Would you move him? There was no discussion of Puka Nacua.
No.
No. He's staying put. Kyren Williams is staying put. Stafford is more of a very specific, at the end of his career,
Mm-hmm.
he might not be back next year anyway. What does he want? Like, a lot of this is going to be, what would Matthew Stafford want in this situation, knowing he's only been playing football another couple years. But Kupp was kind of that flashpoint. He represents a fork in the road, potentially, for the organization, depending on what they would decide to do with him in that scenario.
We may be having a really weird conversation tomorrow. If this game goes a certain way about who may or may not be back, because Jared Verse isn't going anywhere. Puka Nacua is not going anywhere. Kyren Williams isn't going. Like, these are Matthew Stafford. I don't know. Cooper Kupp. I don't know. We'll see what happens going from there. But just kind of going through of all the people we've talked about, and you need to have a good game. Hey, Jared Verse really needs to show up. Braden Fisk needs to continue to get to the quarterback, and all of the guys we talk about defensively. And then you go to, it's Kyren Williams, it's Matthew Stafford, it's Puka. Tyler Higbee's back for the first time. Not for the first time, but he's a regular part of the offense now, seemingly towards the end of the season for the first time. Kupp is kind of, I don't know if part of it is, it's just you always know he's going to be there and give you some level of professional performance. But the other part is he really hasn't impacted games in the way that those other players have over the last month or two.
My guess, and this is purely a guess, but you probably have a better perspective of it, if you went through the film of the last 6 weeks for the Rams for Kupp impact, it's likely way more as a blocker during the plays where Williams gets the ball than anything he's done, because he is still a really good blocker.
He's a huge part of what one of the reasons that Puka can get open is because you got to pay attention to Kupp. One of the reasons that Cooper Kupp does a lot more than just catch passes and run routes, but he also needs to catch passes.
But it just speaks to where he is right now.
Sure.
That you'd probably be like, wow, great block. Then great catch.
How about some great catches tonight? Yeah, let's get in the end zone. Let's see a little Cooper Kupp touchdown for the first time in a while. All right, let's talk about the Lakers. Lakers back at it tonight. They got Wembanyama in town. San Antonio is playing. Plus, it'll be a feel-good moment at the Laker game tonight. We'll talk about that next. It's Trav. Andy's in for DeMarco on 710 ESPN.
Recognized leader in pediatric care, honored by U.S. News and World Report as one of the best in the country. Here, we achieve amazing breakthroughs that change lives. From groundbreaking cancer therapies that offer new hope to young patients, to advanced heart procedures that save lives, we partner with families to conquer challenges and achieve extraordinary outcomes. Choose the best care for your child at chla.org.
Driving my Lexus NX 250 feels like I've got a license to thrill and a permit for awesome. Now your top reasons to visit Morongo.
We're giving away a Lexus NX 250. Be here on the 31st at 10 p.m. for your chance to win a Lexus.
Number 2.
Get a rice cooker when you earn 500 points on your rewards card. The 21st.
And the number 1 reason.
Earthquake. Live January 25th. Get tickets now.
Morongo. Good times.
At Hyundai, we make a big deal about the little things, like the little fact that 9 Hyundai vehicles have earned IIHS top safety picks this year, and offering a little thing called America's Best Warranty, because delivering safety and quality, pretty big deal. Visit your nearest Hyundai dealer today. Hyundai, there's joy in every journey.
Right now, for a limited time only, get 2.49% APR for 60 months on the Hyundai Tucson. See your local Hyundai dealer today. Offers end January 31st. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
Hey, John Ireland here. If you're looking to sell your home, call Seller's Advantage. They'll make you a cash offer, no need for repairs. They buy as is. With Seller's Advantage, there are no agents. They can close in days, and they buy with cash. They'll even offer a $10,000 advance to help with moving and other expenses. Check out their reviews online and call for a no-obligation offer at 888-390-AS-IS, 888-390-2747, and visit sellersadvantage.com.
710 ESPN, your home for the 17-time world champion Lakers.
KSPN Los Angeles, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
And it is the Travis and DeMarco Show. On this Monday, we're back. Happy to be on the radio today with you. So be part of the show, and we'll all get through this step by step. Remember, redcross.org/ESPN, the LA County Regional Food Bank, and lafoodbank.com. Our friends at Cosm tonight, hosting a Rams watch party. All proceeds going to the LAFD Foundation. Help where you can. And of course, so many GoFundMes out there for the victims of the 2025 Southern California wildfires. Right now, we get back to the Travis and DeMarco Show on 710.
DeMarco is in Arizona, getting ready for tonight's Wildcard playoff game. The Rams home in Arizona against the Minnesota Vikings. That's only part of what's on tap today on 710 ESPN. Thanks to our friends at Michelob Ultra. Like I mentioned, Rams-Vikings Wildcard Monday night, State Farm Stadium in Arizona. Coverage begins with the pregame show at 3 on 710 ESPN and the ESPN LA app. Lakers return to the court tonight, hosting the Spurs. Coverage for that game will be on AM 830 KLAA at 6 and 790 KABC, and of course, the all-new ESPN LA app. Also, Kings and Oilers at 6 o'clock on the app as well. Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Any minute now, the general manager of the Los Angeles Rams, Les Sneed, is going to give us a call, so we'll talk to him about tonight's game and the just the logistics of trying to, you work all season long to get a home playoff game, and then at the last minute, for obvious, very understandable reasons, you got to kind of say, oh, hey, by the way, we're going to move it about 400 miles east and go play another game. Just a very specific set of circumstances.
It is weird and unfortunate to say, but the Rams actually have experience with this.
Yeah, it is.
Because of the fires and the shooting that took place in 2018 with them, but specifically the fires that required relocation. Like they've been through this before, like on a procedural level, on an emotional level, like how you go about dealing with such a tragedy that overshadows everything you would be looking to do on the field. But at the same time, what you do on the field matters. Like this is still something you've been working towards all season, and it matters a lot to many of the people who are dealing firsthand with the tragedy in the first place.
Of course it does. And that's it's complicated and confusing to try to balance those conflicting emotions of, you want your football team to win and go and do these things at the same. Well, it's not the most important. Well, no, it's not, but it still doesn't make the other thing unimportant. Right. And there's a lot that goes into it. And I think one of the things that the Rams can kind of hang their hat on is not just the experience that you mentioned, Andy, is, I go back for obviously totally different circumstances, but ultimately landing in a similar area is leadership and having somebody that's in charge of your organization in those moments that is a voice, a singular voice that is the right voice at the right time. I think of Doc Rivers during the entire Donald Sterling thing where he kind of stood up and took the mantle of, hey, look, I know this is a terrible situation, but this is what we're doing. This is how we're handling it. I think the Rams have the right guy in charge in Sean McVay, that somebody that has experience, that is a winner, that has the respect of the community, that has the respect of his players, that has the respect of, everybody in town, that he's the guy that's kind of the tip of the spear in this is good news for the Rams.
Well, it also helps too. Like, I don't remember ever feeling like Les Sneed and Sean McVay, like the two most important voices in that organization, like other than Stan Kroenke in his own right, but it's a very different thing.
Sure.
I don't recall ever feeling like those two are not aligned on blank.
Right.
And this is one of those really important times where being aligned really matters.
Speaking of, we are joined right now by the general manager of the Los Angeles Rams, Les Sneed, joining us right now. Les, good morning. Thanks for coming on with us. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. How's it going? Good to be back on the air, huh?
It is great to be back on the air, Les. It's great to be talking about a Rams playoff game tonight in Arizona. Real quick, I know that you've probably talked about this a lot. Andy and I have been talking about this a lot. Just take me through kind of the ebb and flow of the decision to move the game from SoFi Stadium to Arizona.
Ebb and flow was obviously with all that was going on and still going on in Los Angeles, there was a possibility. And I think probably the main thing based on you're not sure what's around the corner, right? There was uncertainty. I think what the NFL wanted to do, not only for the two teams, us and the Vikings, but also working with all the people in Los Angeles and the Southern California area that are coming together to try to solve a very tough situation. It was probably better for everyone involved. Look, let's have some certainty. Let's move the game to Arizona. Both teams know where it's going to be, and now all the responders, that are working on that solution in Los Angeles can come together to focus on that event and not necessarily two events at one time. And what if our event was going on and something of more importance, comes up and all hands have to go on that deck. So I think that's what the NFL did. That's what the Los Angeles Rams did. That's what, working with the Arizona, all involved.
Les, we were just talking about how, unfortunately, the Rams have a similar experience with this in 2018 when you guys were dealing with being so located so closely to the Thousand Oaks fire. How much did just that experience help you guys in terms of being in a situation where you have to make very quick decisions, you have to keep everybody on task, like from a logistical standpoint, emotional, all of that stuff?
I do think that experience, that experience was beneficial. We've done it before. We've seen what it was like, what it would take, and we also learned some of the benefits of that. Like, fortunately for the majority of the organization, we've only been disrupted. There's been a lot of devastation, and there has been some individuals that work with us that are going through more than some, based on the loss of the house. For the most part, there was disruption. So I do think, going through that, knowing, hey, what we can do is move a team. And what the positives of that trip back in 2018 and even now is, okay, when you do have a lot of families that are having to evacuate, So when we decided to let's call it, try to get a practice in, take the families to Arizona, that was when the fire, and I forget what it was called, maybe the Kenneth fire was starting, erupting, and that's what's going to really, really displace a lot of our coaches, staff, players. So we're up to 30, 40 people now that are, trying to find hotel rooms to go. Well, it was like, you know what? We're going to Arizona anyway. Let's pack up the team. Let's go. That solves a lot of things. And it also, as I think Kevin Demoff has tried to say, it opens up hotel rooms in the area for others that are displaced or maybe going through a little bit more of a tragedy than we are, because we're just evacuating in hopes that something doesn't burn down. So I think that helped. Here's what we did learn in 2018 is there is an element when you bring everyone together. The positive is all of a sudden, late in the season, when you're ready to get your stretch run, there's that bonding element of bringing everyone together. And we're focused on football, focused on a little bit what's going on back home. But a lot of teams don't get that, right? A lot of teams, going about their normal routine. How that plays out, you never know the result, but that is a positive of, obviously, the net negative of the situation.
Rams General Manager Les Sneed joining us here on the Travis and DeMarco show. Andy is in for DeMarco today. And obviously, the fires are always a part of what we're thinking about, Les. But let's talk a little bit about the football itself and what we might see tonight in Arizona. How important that you guys clinch that division with a week to go and we're able to get guys off of their feet, get guys healthy, get guys rested, because that bye week, week 6, feels like a lifetime ago.
That does feel like a lifetime ago. Starting with the practices we were able to have in Los Angeles before we left, and again, like we said, it started the week before we played Seattle. There was intentionality, right, with our athletic performance team on not just to give all the players an entire week off then, but what was the best way for them to practice knowing they weren't going to play in the game, and then going into this week in preparation for the playoff game. Here's what I do know. Players are very, very physically fresh, right? You can tell there is there's a spark, there's a splash in their step, and hopefully that'll help us tonight. We'll see if it comes to fruition, but I do think whatever happens tonight, when you watch us, wherever you're watching us from, I think you will see a fast football team. You'll see a team that looks fresh, looks explosive, and hopefully that'll pay off with good results play in and play out.
You guys tonight being in the playoffs, the last 2 seasons, the way you started below 500, then getting yourselves to the playoffs, it's quite literally historic. Like no team has ever done that before. It's jumped out at me.
How not to do it. That's exactly how not to do it.
Well, I'm not recommending a 3rd year in a row, Les. I'm just saying it is. I'm not daring you to do it again. I'm just saying it is historic. But one thing that has jumped out at me with the last couple seasons is the mental toughness required to make that happen. How aware, or I guess, were you of that element with the roster over the last couple of years? Has it been something you've learned at all about them?
You definitely learn a lot that, okay, these young players, right, they can persevere, withstand, and especially it's really your emotions, and it's a singular loss always is a piercing pain that usually dissipates sometime probably Monday afternoon into Tuesday as you begin focusing on the next, right? So there's always that, but when you dig a little bit of a hole, there is maybe it's not necessarily as much of a piercing pain, but there's a psychologically like, okay, wow, we're in a hole. Why are you there's a little bit of a negative cloud around. But now we've all heard it. We've heard a lot of coaches, and it's actually true. To live it is, it's still a one game at a time. It's one practice. It's one play. It's one game. How do you live that? We've actually had to live that the last 2 years. And we went into both years a little bit with let's call it the youth or the team with less experience, or on our, let's call it our defense. A lot of players on their rookie contracts on that side of the ball. Well, there's an element of intentionality of, okay, we're not there yet. So we can practice trying to get closer to where we want to be, right, with each practice, with each game. But when you do dig a hole, you do quickly realize that, okay, we're 1-4. But we all know there's plenty of content. Overreaction. Are you 1-4? Are you out? Or is it over? Is the season over? But what is the fact is, we won't know until really week 17, week 18 on who makes the tournament, who wins the divisions, who gets home field, and all that. So I think that's what we've learned and been able to practice is the team has been able to withstand psychologically, right, the ebbs and flows of digging a hole, of getting out a loss, of having to respond, right, and things like that. So that's very important when you're going through a season that starts in late July and basically ends in early February. That's a lot of months there's a lot of life that goes on. We've seen that this week, right? All of a sudden, wow, there is historic devastation in Los Angeles. That was not in the, let's call it the manual coming into the season, but you have to go through those things.
General Manager of the Rams, Les Sneed, joining us here on the Travis and DeMarco Show. So when we flip on our TVs tonight, for those of us that are not going to get a chance to go out there, what's it going to look like, Les? I mean, I read that they're going to paint the end zone Rams colors. They're going to put the logo at midfield. But how do you try to make Arizona feel as much like Southern California as you can and try to create whatever advantage you might have? Because you earned the advantage of playing a home game by winning your division.
I think I give the Arizona Cardinals organization a lot of credit. Michael Bidwell, from the top on down to all the staff that helped us. They tried to make it home away from home. I haven't seen the field. I did catch a little bit of local news last night as that playoff game was ending, and I could see they have that grass field that they kind of roll in. Mm-hmm. So I definitely saw the Rams colors, which is kind of surreal. I know the stadium probably is still going to have maybe red seats in there, things like that. Here's what I learned from our ops teams yesterday to show you the nuance that the organization's trying to go, or the links they're going through to make this feel like a home field. Is we flew the Mariucci, I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Y'all get it right for me.
Mariachi.
They flew in yesterday on one of our charters. I did hear that each umbrella had its own seat. So that's the nuance, the level of detail the organization's going through, starting with them, everyone else, to make this feel like a home field. Here's what's going to make it a home field advantage, and looking at some of the ticket sales and some of the data is, it does seem like there are a lot of Rams fans,
That's
people
great.
who want to come and pull for the Rams that are going to be here. And I think if that's the case, wow, it will, that's the main thing, right? Is when we have momentum, when we get momentum, they're loud and obviously fuel some of that momentum to hopefully keep progressing toward a result we all want if you're a Rams fan.
It wasn't lost on me, Les, that the Cardinals doing this for you guys, this is a divisional rival. And, there have been a lot of heated games over the years between you guys that the Bidwell family would put that stuff aside for something that is bigger than the league, bigger than all of us. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. I think look, if we all could have it all over to do again, right, the fires wouldn't have happened. They wouldn't have gotten out of control. I think in these instances, the neat thing, and people can talk about the devastation, and it is really, my brain truly really can't comprehend it, right? When you look at it, it's like, wow, that looks like that. It truly looks like war scenes type pictures. But what you can feel and notice is no matter your little differences, even larger differences, hey, we're division rivals. And that goes with everyone in L.A. You do see, right, let's call it from a big picture, from a macro standpoint, a lot of people with, right, differences that work together, that come together, that are forced to come, that actually want to do their part in helping, right, stop that devastation, get it under control, and then, of course, beginning to rebuild it. So that's the neat thing you always see a lot of times in these cases is, I'm not saying it takes that to bring everyone together. I just think because something of that magnitude is being covered, you do notice that, wow, there is a lot of people in Los Angeles and even in Arizona with us. And as you see, as the different fire departments, from different countries come to Southern, there's a lot of people coming together to try to help humanity. And I think that's always unbelievable perspective.
Rams General Manager Les Sneed joining us here on the Travis and DeMarco Show. Andy's in for DeMarco. And, you talk about coming together, Les. I know that's been a priority for the Rams since they came back to Los Angeles in 2016 to be involved in the community. I saw a number of the LAFD shirts with the Rams logo on it as well. If and maybe these are still in the works, but what is the plan for the Rams to help the community, to get involved with the community after what's happened over the last few days?
I think from a macro point, I think there's still some nuances, some level of details on where our resources are needed. Mm-hmm. I know there's been some money donated at a macro level to the, let's call it the Los Angeles Fire Department Foundation, and I'll be the first to say I'm not sure exactly how that money's used, but I do know. I think focus number one is we got a game to play. Now we got to move a game. Now let's go move and play that game and then come back. But our group, starting with Molly and her group in community relations, Molly Higgins, and I know it starts at the top with Stan, Kevin Demoff, being a part of the community, being where you're needed, trying to do your part. Because the neat thing is the football team, Stan Kroenke may own it, but at the end of the day, it's the Los Angeles Rams. When you look at the standings, when we're on Monday Night Football tonight, it's going to be the Los Angeles Rams. So this team is the community's team. So it's bigger than just a sports franchise. It's got its roots in the community, and I think most franchises like ours will do their part to make an impact when it's needed.
Les Sneed is the GM of the LA Rams. They, of course, are taking on the Minnesota Vikings tonight at 5 o'clock. That is on ESPN. Pregame show will start right here. Myself and Kirk Morrison. We got you started at 3 o'clock. Les, under far from ideal circumstances, I know. Thank you for coming on, and go Rams. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, appreciate y'all having me. And, Jack, you are back on the air. Talking a little
absolutely.
Sports, as I'm sure you blend in the disruption and devastation going on. But Jack, for y'all, for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Les.
See y'all.
Yeah. It's weird, right? To talk about a football game and then to think about what's going on, but that's what we're here for. And I'm glad that he said that. Honestly, not that it's about you and me, but it feels good it's good to hear you guys back. I hope more people feel like that as well. That's great.
I've been following along the YouTube comment section for, all of the shows have that YouTube component. And it's been cool not just to see all the commenters enjoying themselves, enjoying each other, but seeming to enjoy that we're back.
It won't last. They'll get mad at us again before too long, right?
This is short-lived.
Yeah, we'll take it.
For this one moment in time, they appreciate us.
Look, can I be sappy for a second? I think at the end of the day, we're all pretty decent. Not you, people, generally speaking, when the you-know-what happens, we tend to come together. Then once we get it fixed, we go back to our separate corners. But when it gets real, we tend to help each other the best that we can, and that's what we're trying to get done today. And thanks to Les Sneed again. Just a really bizarre, surreal scene where we're going to see tonight Rams with all their colors and logos and mariachis and Nita and Sam and all the things that are going on in Arizona, try to make a home away from home.
He noted that, and this would be I don't know if you've ever been to that stadium before. I have. I
don't think I have, no.
It would be impossible, I think, to change out all those red seats to blue, but at least they're not purple.
Yeah. At least it's purple or yes, indeed. Purple would be the worst option. All right, let's get back to the Lakers. Talk about they had a bad loss right before all this stuff happened. They got a game canceled. They're back at it tonight, and there is something that's going to make Laker fans feel pretty good that's going to take place as well. It's all coming up. It's Trav. It's Andy at 710 ESPN. Next Gen, the absolute best in the business, backed by thousands of five-star reviews, including two of my experiences with the folks at Next Gen. I've had them out when my water heater blew up. I've had them out when my air conditioner was on the blink, and they are just on it like very few people that I've ever seen. And right now, they're hooking you up when you got that slow drain in your house, right? Maybe it's in the kitchen. Maybe it's in one of the bathrooms. Maybe it's the garage or the laundry room where we've all got that sink that doesn't drain. $88 drain cleaning. Expert plumbing, heating, and AC solutions for all of your needs right now. Trusted, absolutely. This is thousands of five-star reviews online telling you that Next Gen is the absolute best. So give them a call, 833-3-NEXT-GEN. That's 833-3-NEXGEN today to take advantage of that incredible $88 drain cleaning special, or visit nextgenaironplumbing.com to schedule your appointment online.
The Kings' 5-game win streak is over, but they're back in action again tonight against Pacific Division rival Edmonton, with two massive points on the line. Quinton Byfield scored twice when the teams last met 2 weeks ago, and capped off the game with the overtime winner.
To Kempe, into the zone to Deneau, and to Byfield. Byfield down to the left circle, shoots, scores! Quinton Byfield from the left wing. Kings win it in overtime, 4-3.
Kings, Oilers, tonight at 6:30, right here on 710 ESPN and the ESPN LA Kings Radio Network.
You never expect a Hail Mary pass to win and end the game or getting into an accident. Hey, it's Trav with DeMarco.
Only one all-star defense team you can call to defend you. The personal injury law offices of Joseph S. Normand. Visit normanlegal.com or call 213-747-2000.
Don't get sacked by others. Joseph will help you achieve the maximum compensation you deserve. Visit normanlegal.com or call 213-747-2000. That's 213-747-2000.
Let Joseph and his team score a touchdown for you.
Los Angeles, your Rams are the 2024 NFC West champions. If you missed out on any action this past season, don't make the same mistake and clinch your spot in the Rams house for the 2025 season. With Rams season tickets, enjoy home playoff ticket access, interest-free monthly payment plans, and stadium event presale access. To experience the energy at SoFi Stadium and all these benefits, visit therams.com/2025. Again, that is therams.com/2025. Secure your Rams season tickets and don't miss out on any of the action right here at the Rams house.
Hey, everybody, excited to have with me in studio the one and only Dr. Monica Madden from Beverly Hills Ortho. Hi, Dr. Madden.
Hi, thanks for having me. This is exciting.
All right, let's get to why we want everybody to listen carefully, because you have a special offer for ESPN LA listeners. Tell me about it.
We're really happy to be part of the ESPN LA family and so grateful for everyone listening right now. We are giving the first 5 people who register now and every time this airs $1,000 off Invisalign or braces treatment. Just go to BeverlyHillsOrtho.com and enter the code SMILE and you're on your way.
So enter the code SMILE at BeverlyHillsOrtho.com and I could get $1,000 off Invisalign?
Yes, absolutely.
And what if I wanted to just call the office? Can I get the offer that way?
Yes, absolutely. Just say SMILE and you heard it on ESPN.
877-7, let's do this.
Yes.
Or, Monica, as I like to say, BeverlyHillsOrtho.com.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so like everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are like so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football, it's a pepper thing.
Something amazing is happening in business. More companies are turning to Mac. From finance to fulfillment, CDW will seamlessly support Mac integration into your organization. With the power of Apple Silicon, best-in-class security, and compatibility across your favorite apps, your team will have the performance they need and the tools they love. Make amazing happen. Mac and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/Apple.
Hey everybody, it's Cappy, and we are so happy to be back on the air with you today as we and the entire community all try and move forward just a little bit this week. But because of the Rams and the Lakers tonight, Sedano and I don't have a show. So how about tomorrow we do some two-a-days? Join us tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. for a little Sedano and Cap morning show action. Morales is going to be on the Wheels of Steel. And then we'll be back in the afternoon for our 3-hour regular show, Sedano and Cap. Tomorrow, 7 to 9 in the morning, then 3 to 6 in the afternoon, two-a-days, tomorrow, Tuesday, 710 ESPN, the ESPN LA app, and always on YouTube.
Little two-a-day for Sedano and Cap. All right. Putting in the work. I like it. I like it. Does that mean that I have to do double crosstalk tomorrow, Em? Is that a twofer on the crosstalk?
A beginning crosstalk and an end crosstalk. Sorry about that.
Well, what are you going to do?
Well, it's lovely to talk to Sedano and Cap. You never get to do that.
No, not very often. Not very often. But tomorrow morning, we'll get to do it 7 to 9. That's exciting. That's exciting. I didn't know this. You mentioned tonight, Andy, that they're going to retire Michael Cooper's jersey at the Laker game in San Antonio.
Yeah, that had been scheduled for a while. And to be honest, I wasn't sure whether they would delay it just because there could be concerns. Tonally, does it match with coming back to playing games again amidst what's been happening with these fires? Would there be concerns? And I would understand, is what's happening now, would it potentially overshadow this night that Michael Cooper has earned? And I know fans are going to be really excited about it. At the same time, though, like the more you think about it, at least to me, I think it's really nice to not just have the games come back, which obviously doesn't heal or fix everything in the city. It helps.
It does.
That is going to be something, too. The jersey retirement for Michael Cooper is going to be really fun for so many Laker fans who, grew up watching Showtime, and Cooper was a part of all 5 of those championships. He, an indelible fan favorite, and just, you want to talk about a really fun guy.
He's great.
Fun personality, hilarious.
He's you said it. For somebody that's my age or in the ballpark of what I am, you can't think of the Showtime Lakers are Magic Kareem worthy, and then Michael Cooper is right there too. Like that, you can't think of that era and not think of the Koopa loops and the 3-point shots, him defending Larry Bird, like all of the things that they asked him to do, and that he is in the Hall of Fame, that they are hanging his jersey up with all of his contemporaries from that team. It's great because, in a week that has been awful, to have something that is so wonderful right next to it is just terrific.
And I know he means a lot to all of those Showtime legends. Like, I'm expecting most of them will be on hand for that. Like, it's going to be, Michael's going to be calling this game. It's going to be fun for Michael. And, I know that I heard a lot over the years from Laker fans asking why the Lakers had not retired Michael Cooper's jersey yet. And the answer was always they only retire Hall of Famers. Like the Lakers, a lot of organizations have a Ring of Honor. The Lakers don't need one because they've already got an entire arena wall filled with jerseys. Like any other organization, Byron Scott, Derek Fisher, those guys are no-brainers to have their jerseys retired. Like if they had been a part of championships for that long with that organization. With the Lakers, it's sorry.
The Dodgers, the Yankees, the Lakers. There are some teams that just you don't have to be a good player. You have to be a Hall of Famer to have us hang up your number.
Yeah, I mean, Fernando is the exception that rightly proves the rule.
Absolutely.
Because I don't think you can tell the story
Absolutely
of the Dodgers without Fernando. But it's really awesome. I know this is going to be awesome for Laker fans because I've heard from so many over the years.
Yeah.
Why won't the Lakers do that? Why won't the Lakers make an exception? And the answer is because if you do that for Michael Cooper, then all of a sudden Byron Scott rightly becomes somebody. Derek Fisher, Robert Horry, which I'm sure a lot of Laker fans would say retire their jerseys too. But
they might.
It starts becoming a cascading.
You're going to hang up a lot of jerseys. You already have a lot of jerseys
look,
up there.
LeBron's is going to be up there.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis is going to be up there.
Yep.
You start running out of space.
It's just this wallpaper. You're just going to have the entire arena covered with as well. Remind me to tell you my Michael Cooper. I've only met him one time, and he immediately started busting my chops before I even opened my mouth for the first time. Factor Cap is coming up next. It's Trav and Andy on 710 ESPN. And a reminder, if you are able, please help the people affected by the wildfires here in 2025. You can donate at redcross.org/ESPN. That's redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help people recover.
Let's talk trash. Food waste, that is. Tossing your food scraps in the regular trash sends them to landfills where they release harmful gases like methane. Fight global warming by simply sorting your food scraps and placing them in your green bin. It's quick, it's easy, it helps protect our planet. Ready to do your part? Visit cleanla.com or call 888-CLEAN-LA for more tips. This message funded by Cal Recycle.
Bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, crowd rocking for Rotolo Chevrolet's top hitter, Mike Capozio. He's facing off with the Bulldog, and these two have quite the history. Here's the pitch. Oh, he got all of it. That ball is out of here like a red Corvette, and it's going and going and going. Yes!
Dad, are you having that dream again?
Come see what the fun is all about at Rotolo Chevrolet.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, HIMS can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
And it is the Travis and DeMarco Show. On this Monday, we're back. Happy to be on the radio today with you. So be part of the show, and we'll all get through this step by step. Remember, redcross.org/ESPN, the LA County Regional Food Bank, and lafoodbank.com. Our friends at Cosm tonight, hosting a Rams watch party. All proceeds going to the LAFD Foundation. Help where you can. And of course, so many GoFundMes out there for the victims of the 2025 Southern California wildfires. Right now, we get back to the Travis and DeMarco Show on 710. Here we go. It is Factor Cap time. Factor Cap on the Travis and DeMarco Show. Each weekday around 10:30, producer Emily serves up what's going down, and fun and frivolity ensues. Special thanks to the law offices of Joseph S. Normand for making Factor Cap possible.
It's Joseph S. Normand. It's Factor Cap on the Travis and DeMarco Show on 710 ESPN. And if you've been hurt in an accident, let me help you. Call my office at 213-747-2000. That's 213-747-2000.
Let's do it. Factor Cap right now.
Take it away, producer Emily.
Welcome to Factor Cap.
Hi, guys.
Aloha.
I'm glad they're all here, too. And before I get into my Factor Caps, I just want to give a shout out to two places. One, our local news. It was a lifeline in a sea of misinformation on different social media platforms to go and have amazing coverage by all the different stations. It was a lifeline to me and to my extended family, and then also to the Watch app. If you haven't downloaded it already, it gives really good up-to-date information about evacuation orders, warnings, what they mean, where the red flag warnings are, and that also I was checking that probably a million times a day and didn't know what was going to happen. I did end up evacuating out of an abundance of caution on Wednesday night, but just those two organizations specifically, how important they were and how massive they were to helping me feel at ease and my parents at
Second
ease.
that for sure.
Another Twitter follow I would recommend is just LA Scanner. And it's somebody, I don't know who this person is, but they are just reporting what they hear on a police scanner. They're not offering any commentary. They're not doing anything other than this is information. And it has seemed like their information has been pretty dead on the whole time.
That being said, mind yourself, be careful and wary of misinformation, especially as the next weeks, months, years ahead. But now to more fun things and funny things and Factor Cap stuff. So, a big team in my hometown, the Washington Commanders, had an amazing win yesterday and ended on a doink in, which you rarely see.
Goodness.
So I'm going to play the Commanders radio call of them witnessing this doink in.
Gonzalez looking to send Washington into the divisional round. Snap good, hold down, kick on its way. It is good! The Cardiac Commanders are the Clutch Commanders. They do it again. We'll see you in Detroit.
And Zay Gonzalez kicks in the door and kicks us into the second round of the playoffs.
All right, for a team that has gone almost 20 years without a playoff win,
Crazy.
It's amazing to see. So there is nothing better than a doink in. Travis, Factor, Cap.
Cap. There are things better than a doink in, but that was pretty great. And you know what I love? I love when, I don't want to say professionalism goes out the door, but when just the pure fan comes out of these guys calling it. That's great. It's very descriptive. The audio on that doink is amazing. But yeah, I would think that the Hail Mary, for instance, that the Commanders also won with this year is a little better than a bank shot to go to the next round.
They've had some crazy
really
wins
have.
this season, and it's seeming somewhat like Team of Destiny. I don't think that they'll get further than the next step because they will play the Detroit Lions, but who knows?
Who knows?
Andy?
I'm going Cap as well. There are much
come on.
greater things in the world than the doink in, like, if we're being honest.
I prefer a doink out, quite frankly, because that's just gut-wrenching.
Of course you do. That sound, if you had asked, you could have given me, like, no context, what is that sound? You could have given me, like, 10 tries before I would have landed on football hitting uprights.
Yeah.
Like, that was so loud, and the vibrations, I would have had no idea what that was. Like, it sounded almost horrific.
Another big one was the one in the Broncos game that was massive and just like ricocheted off at the end of that half that they missed.
Yep.
Jorge, do you have it queued up?
Yeah.
Sounds like a gate slamming shut.
It does.
Yeah.
Jorge, is there anything better than doink in?
No, as a soccer player, imagine. Think of this. This is last second kick, right? Last second. It's what kickers dream of. You know what I mean? Like 2 seconds.
Don't you
think
dream
it's going
of
out?
kicking it down the middle, though, as opposed to banking it off the right upright?
It's like they say in Fast and Furious, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile.
Yeah.
Winning is winning. So
Right.
the fact that it went in, hey.
You're right, though, Andy. That sound is not like if you hear a puck hit the post or the crossbar, it's got a very specific. It's got a ricochet dink.
That almost sounded like a jackhammer doing the work. I'm like, what the hell is that?
It's great.
All
Like
right.
someone dropped a trampoline. Like that does not sound like a field goal attempt.
You're right.
That's a good call.
So another game that happened yesterday, I just mentioned it, the Bills and the Broncos. It was pretty close until half. Broncos could have tied it up going to half. Ended up the Buffalo Bills ran away with it. But during the game, there was an interesting part where Josh Allen had been mad at the umpire, at the refs, and then you see the next shot they put on the broadcast, the ref coming over, tapping him on the shoulder, talking to him, kind of like hitting his or rubbing his arm, and then leaving. And everyone's like, what's happening here? Is the ref apologizing, say, I'll make it up to you? But Josh Allen was asked afterward what the ref said to him. This is Josh Allen.
When the ref came over to talk to you, like all the way to the bench, what was he saying? What was going on?
Was that after? I wasn't happy with what was going on, and I was yelling a little bit, and he just said, Don't be yelling. So, my bad. Sorry to Bill. Huh?
Did he apologize?
I won't say anything about that.
All right.
Good decision, Josh.
You're okay with the refs going up to Josh Allen like this. Andy Fettercap.
Cap. I mean, I'm cool with it. I mean, this is a workplace environment, and these are essentially coworkers. They may be adversarial coworkers, but it's a work environment. If you have an issue with the way one of your quasi co-workers talk to you in this situation, I have no problem with the ref going up and saying something to Josh Allen. I also, depending on how it was said, have no problem with Josh Allen yelling because, in all honesty, in that environment, if you want to be heard, you have to yell. It is impossible to make yourself heard without yelling.
Or being very close to somebody.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, what he said while yelling obviously matters, but no, I have no problem with the ref saying anything.
Travis?
I forget the original question. What is it?
You're okay with the refs going up and talking to Josh?
Fact. Because, look, referees, umpires, officials, they're okay having a conversation. What they're not okay with is you embarrassing them and making them look stupid or foolish in front of an arena. There's a safety component to all of this, that when somebody's, bam, 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 in your face, that's one of those, that's going to get everybody else up. And I'm sure, and hearing what Josh said about, well, what'd he say to you? He goes, I'm not going to say. I'm sure, Josh, we missed it. Calm down. We're doing the best we can. You can't be doing this. We're looking. We missed one. Chill. And his answer was probably, okay. That everybody's okay when somebody says, dude, I'm doing the best I can. I might have missed that one. Shut up. Let me do my job. I think everybody's okay with that.
All right, Jorge?
Yeah, I'm okay with the ref. They're having that exchange. Emotions are running high during the game anyway, so you're going to say things that maybe you don't get the opportunity to apologize to that person.
Yeah. I mean, guess what? I'm sure there are plenty of calls that the refs missed that worked out for Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were holds that the Bills committed that didn't get called, and they end up completing a pass on it or getting a big run for James Cook. Shut up.
I don't know what the dialogue is necessarily between football player and referee, but I do know what the dialogue is between umpires and baseball players, specifically hitters who come up again after controversial calls. And they will often, you were right. I went back and I looked at it. You were right. Or, hey, man, I went back and looked on that. You missed that one. And you know what the umpires just say? Okay.
Yeah.
That's just, you can have a conversation unless it's a lunatic like Joe West or something like that. But you can talk with these guys.
All right, so one last thing for you guys. In the middle of my doom scrolling, trying to get anything else other than information about how terrible things were here in Los Angeles, I read this article in Atlantic about a man wrote this article about the terrible nature of texting young men and his friends, other people, and that it's hard. It contributes to the male loneliness epidemic.
Is
and
this
that,
the Derek Thompson article in the Atlantic?
Yes, yeah, and how terrible sometimes it is to text with men. So my statement is:
can I ask a real quick question? Women texting with men, or men just texting with anybody?
Men texting with anybody,
okay,
and their buddies, other people. So you would consider yourself a good texter, Jorge Factor Cap?
Yeah. I mean, I try to send you guys, stuff that I'm doing that involves you guys, for instance, to Travis, I'll send him food pictures, and
I send them right back to
Emily, you would send me something about a movie or stuff like that.
Right, or if you're like, hey, let's meet up at this point, or
Yeah, but I mean, I know what to text and what to text Travis, what to text you, I guess you just have to know what people like and you go from there, but I consider myself a, good texter, I guess.
Trav?
Fact for me, it depends on what I'm doing. If
you're constant clacking at your computer.
Yeah, I got heavy hands, right? I like to text. I've got a couple of different group chats with my friends that I don't feel lonely because of them. I have great interactions with my friends. It's funny. Sometimes we'll be honest with one another and kind of communicate like that, because guys aren't great at doing that one-on-one in person. We have to have a third party or a third feature involved in that. But yeah, I think I'm okay at
As you have exemplified by how shocked you were by your wife's friends all coming over and how loud they were.
No one was listening, Andy. There were 14 people in my house, all women, or all Susan's friends. 14 people were talking at the same time, and
a cacophony of friendship.
And it was just and I'm in the backyard cooking, and I'm looking at this. I'm like, not one person's mouth isn't moving. Everybody was talking at the same time. It was insane.
All right, Andy?
Fact, I consider myself a good texter, and I've actually heard Derek Thompson interviewed about this article, and I understand what he's talking about in terms of the world becoming more device-oriented, and how texting and online interactions have sometimes substituted for human in-person interactions, and how we can sometimes feel more connected with people even when in reality on some levels we are less. In a city especially like LA that is so spread out, it is hard for me and my friends, particularly the ones with kids, to physically find the time to get together. There's one group text thread that I have of some friends of mine and I that we will try to have dinner together maybe twice a year. We've tried to push it beyond twice. It can be hard for all 7 or 8 of us to land on a date that works, and to find a place that works, because we're spread all over the place. It's hard.
It's better than talking on the phone too, right? phone. What are you doing? Nothing.
I do love talking on the phone.
Oh.
So, like, when I was driving to San Diego, I called 3 people and just talked. It was great.
There are exactly 2 people I can talk to on the phone now. I'm down to 2. My mom and my dad. That's it. Everyone else texted to me.
I remember.
You sound like a Gen Z right now.
I can't. We're not going to get to what we need to get to.
During the pandemic, when things really first started, I was trying to be super dad, and I set up this Zoom call for my daughter and a bunch of her friends. They were at the time in 3rd grade.
Okay.
That I thought would be really fun for them to all be together. It was like an 11 or 12 girl Zoom call, and it ended up basically freaking them all out. Because, like, none of them knew when to start talking. And then, like, they'd start talking, everyone talk at once, and then everyone goes silent. And then, like, the next week, I tried to arrange it again, and, like, nobody was available. In the middle of a pandemic, nobody was available. But I just freaked them all out accidentally.
Factor Caps brought to you by the law offices of Joseph S. Normand. You've got a lot of choices in a legal team, but family always comes first with Joe. Call 213-747-2000. That is the law office of Joseph S. Normand. That number, one more time, 213-747-2000, or visit normandlegal.com. Lakers back at it tonight at crypto.com. They got the Spurs coming to town, and they need to bang some wins between now and the end of the month. That's coming up. It's Trav and Andy, 710 ESPN.
The Rams countdown to kickoff with Travis Rogers and Kirk Morrison. Rams-Vikings from Arizona at 5 p.m. And you'll hear all of Rams football on 710 ESPN and the all-new ESPN LA app. Lakers are back on the court tonight at Crypto.com Arena. Lakers-Spurs. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. You'll hear that on AM 830 KLAA and 790 KABC, along with the ESPN LA app. So Rams on 710, Lakers on 790 and 830, and the app. Plus, Kings are up in Edmonton to battle the Oilers. You'll hear that tonight, as always, on the all-new ESPN LA app. That's what's on tap. Thanks to our friends at Michelob Ultra, right here today on 710 ESPN.
NextGen is the official plumbing, heating, and AC company of SoCal sports fans. That's right. NextGen, the absolute best in the biz, with thousands of 5-star reviews online to prove it. Looking for game-changing deals on your home? Call NextGen. Right now, ESPN LA listeners can book a drain cleaning for just $88. That's right. For just $88, you can keep your plumbing in top shape and ensure that you're game day ready. So don't miss out. Call 833-3NEXGEN today to take advantage of this limited time offer. NextGen is the name you can trust for home comfort and reliability. That's 833-3NEXGEN. 833-3NEXTGEN, or visit nextgenairandplumbing.com to schedule your $88 drain cleaning appointment today.
NEXGEN, call 833-3NEXTGEN.
Adam Schefter here with Vivid Seats. We've got some late-breaking news coming out of the stands. According to multiple sources, Vivid Seats fans are scoring rewards on every purchase and at a rapid pace. Obviously, these rewards are a game-changer, and coupled with their MVP-worthy ticket selection, why get tickets anywhere else? Don't drop the ball this season. Shop with Vivid Seats and earn rewards on every ticket. And as the official ticketing partner of ESPN, Vivid Seats is offering you $20 off your first $200 ticket purchase with code Schefter. That's code Schefter.
Hear that? The soothing sounds of a bubble bath. And if you were here, you'd smell a single cedar leaf candle. But you're not here. Because your self-care happens out on the road, riding your motorcycle protected by Progressive. So if you ride, get back on the road and enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance from Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer. And then take a shower, because it's fast, like your motorcycle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Roadside assistance may require comprehensive coverage. Not available in all states.
Hey everybody, it's Cappy, and we are so happy to be back on the air with you today as we and the entire community all try and move forward just a little bit this week. But because of the Rams and the Lakers tonight, Sedano and I don't have a show. So how about tomorrow we do some two-a-days? Join us tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. for a little Sedano and Cap morning show action. Morales is going to be on the Wheels of Steel, and then we'll be back in the afternoon for our 3-hour regular show, Sedano and Cap. Tomorrow, 7 to 9 in the morning, then 3 to 6 in the afternoon. Two-a-days tomorrow, Tuesday, 710 ESPN, the ESPN LA app, and always on YouTube.
Rams on the road as the home team tonight in Phoenix. They are Glendale specifically taking on the Vikings because of obviously everything that's been going on in and around Los Angeles here. We're thinking about all of you. You're in all of our thoughts. And obviously football, basketball, the Lakers play tonight as well. Clippers play tonight as well. Kings play tonight as well. Not first and foremost the most important thing, but they're playing. We're talking about it. We're here for you. It's great to be back on the air today, Andy. But just wanted to say that again. Haven't said it in a few minutes. And just because we're here doesn't mean we're doing anything other than thinking about you. But we're here to provide whatever little distraction or fun you might be looking for.
I was going to say if we can be any part at all of the process of providing a respite from this, a break from it, some feeling of, for lack of a better way of putting it, normalcy, even though we are fully aware it ain't normal now, and it is not going. It's going to take a while. Unfortunately, that's just the reality. If we can be a part of making this incrementally better, that's great.
Indeed. Michael Cooper is going to have his jersey retired tonight at Crypto.com. I went in to do the KBC show, the Slam Dunk Saturday Night, I think is what it was. And this was several years ago. And I'd never met Michael Cooper. And he was the co-host of the show with Rob Fukuzaki. And they bring me on for the segment. And as I'm walking from wherever it was I was sitting to go onto the set, Michael Cooper starts breaking my chops about Arcadia High School. And I'm like, keep in mind, I've never met him, spoken to him, nothing. He's like, oh, Apache in the house, man. We used to kill you guys. And I'm like, wait, and I knew in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, that's right. He went to Pasadena High School. He's a PHS Bulldog, Arcadia High, Pasadena High, in the same league for high school sports. It was the Pacific League at the time. I don't know if it's still called that. And I'm like, and so instantly I'm like, well, yeah, because in basketball, you had guys like you at PHS, and our basketball team had guys like me at Arcadia High. In baseball, we had a much better, and so we were going back and forth. But anyway, it was a great moment. Like, no wonder everybody loves this guy. He had gone on Wikipedia or whatever, figured out which high school I went to, and immediately starts bombarding me when I come on the set. It was great.
The first time I've met Michael Cooper a handful of times, but the first time I met him, total smartass.
Yeah.
Same exact thing. He has probably heard me before. Like, he probably vaguely knows who I am, but we had never met before.
Yeah.
And he immediately is in like Don Rickles mode. just like going right at you.
He's an NBA Don Rickles.
Yeah,
that's exactly
he is
right.
Really, really funny. And it's going to be an awesome moment for not just the city, but in particular Laker fans, because everyone loves Michael Cooper.
And if you are, my favorite version of the Lakers are the Showtime Lakers. I think everybody's favorite version of their thing is the thing when you were somewhere between 10 and 16.
Or when you first fell in love with the team.
Yes. Yeah. And for me, it was the Showtime Lakers. And of course, he was an indelible part of that. Congratulations to him on his Hall of Fame induction. And of course, his jersey retirement tonight. They also need to win tonight.
Yes, they do.
They kind of kicked the can in Dallas. No Kyrie, no Luka, and this was the last time we were on the air. They were getting ready to play that game that night. They lost. That's a game they probably should have won. And the rest of this month are a lot of winnable games. They need to stack some of these things up.
It's one thing to blow that game against Dallas with no Luka, no Kyrie, no Daniel Gafford, and Derek Lively in foul trouble a lot of that game. It's another thing in all that context to lose by 21. I mean, like, they didn't just drop that game. They got their asses kicked. And this month of January is a massive opportunity that the Lakers have to cash in. Like, here is the rest of the schedule for January. They're gonna at some point make up the game against Charlotte. That was the first of the ones that was postponed, but obviously Charlotte. This is going to be the first of the two games that they were supposed to have against San Antonio. San Antonio, they've been good, or, they've been fine this season.
Yes.
I think they're on schedule for where they're supposed to be, but they have not been great, particularly against the Lakers. Wemby has not played well against the Lakers this year at all. Then you go to hosting Miami, the bad vibe team of the NBA.
Yep.
Jimmy Butler, I believe, will still be suspended at that point. Then 2 days later, you host Brooklyn. They're in complete sell-off mode right now. We know because we have Dorian Finney-Smith. Then you go to, finger quotes, Intuit for a game against the Clippers.
That's their first one there, right?
Yeah, first game at Intuit.
That will be fascinating.
Yeah.
Because the entire ethos of the Intuit Dome, of Steve Ballmer, of the Clippers is we're going to have our own house. We're going to have the wall. You have to wear the gear.
We're going to stop covering up the Laker banners.
Yes. I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Yes.
Because if you turn on the TV and you see a bunch of Laker, all over the place, it's going to be like, yeah, nice try. Way to go, guys.
2 days later, then they host the Wizards, who are god-awful.
They're the Wizards.
A couple days later, you host Boston. That's obviously a tough one. Then you go on the road to the Warriors, who have been struggling all season right now. Another pretty bad vibes team at the moment. Then you go on the road to Charlotte. Go on the road to Philly. Who knows what their health is going to be like, but they've been underperforming all season. Then you go to Washington again to close out January. You have to, as Darvin Ham used to say, stack wins. Because let me tell you something. You get to February, and then especially after the All-Star break, their schedule is hard.
I don't mean to oversimplify this, but I think it's kind of simple. The Lakers are exactly what I thought they were going to be. They're okay. They're pretty good, but they're not great. They don't stink. They can stink at times. They're going to be somewhere between 6 and 10, maybe 5 if they can stack a handful of these wins.
I mean, look, man, they're only 2 games out of the 4 seed right now.
They're 2, and I think they're only 3 games out of the 11.
Yeah.
The whole thing is kind of bunched together.
You have to get right now to the 12 seed to find a team below 500 in the West.
Yeah, and it's just they're amongst those teams. They're very likely going to make the playoffs, and then they're very likely not going to make a run through the playoffs. That's just kind of what I thought. That's kind of what it is. And, they've changed the personnel a little bit, and maybe they'll change the starting lineup a little bit. But this is kind of what I thought. And there isn't that big move on the horizon that I think a lot of people were hoping for. There just aren't big moves available to them.
If they want to try to put themselves in the best position possible heading into the playoffs, try to avoid the play-in altogether, it really begins again tonight and capitalizing on January.
All right, so can you have a good season and still have the same terrible ending that you have year after year after year? I think you can. That's coming up next. It's Trav and Andy, 710 ESPN. Hey, football season, we're getting towards the end. We still got a few weekends left. We got a national championship game coming up, a couple of rounds of playoffs, but why not get in on Prize Picks while football is still here? Yeah, we can do basketball and hockey, and baseball's just around the corner, but Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to everybody, right? Everybody. So put that Prize Picks app on your phone and pick more or less. It really is that simple. You look at the stat projections and you say, I think that player is going to have more. Touchdown for Kyron Williams tonight. Does he get one or not? More or less than half a touchdown. That's Prize Picks. Just pick more or less, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. But you got to put the app on your phone, and when you're doing that, when you're signing up, make sure you use the promo code TRAV, T-R-A-V, on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game.
If you're able, please help people affected by the California wildfires in 2025. Donate at redcross.org/ESPN. redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help people recover.
When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. We are ranked number 18 in the nation and number 1 in Orange County for orthopedic and spine care by U.S. News & World Report. From the surf to the green, our world-class doctors are there, which is why more Californians choose Hoag Orthopedic Institute for orthopedic and spine care more than any other hospital. At Hoag Orthopedic Institute, there is no one better at getting you back to you. Proudly founded by premier physicians in partnership with Hoag. Learn more at HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com.
Progressive knows we all crave validation.
Girl, you are not 37.
I would have guessed 27.
You guys are too sweet.
Sure, dewy skin.
Terrific.
Is something wrong, Ned?
Why would you ask? Just because today marks my 10th anniversary without a car accident or even a speeding ticket? But somehow, tonight's all about your skincare. Wow.
With Snapshot from Progressive, you can get a personalized rate based on how you drive. And that's all the validation you need. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to HIMSS.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
710 ESPN.
KSPN, Los Angeles.
A good karma brands radio station.
Here we go, Monday, January 13th, 2025. Travis Rogers, DeMarco Farr, the Travis and DeMarco Show is on for your Monday. Well, we are back and happy to be on the radio today with you. We are happy to all be together and to take a step towards recovery and what's next today. And yeah, we got sports. We got Rams-Vikings, Wildcard Monday night tonight. We had chalk in the Wildcard over the weekend. Lakers will be back on the court tonight at Crypto.com. And the Kings on the ice up in Edmonton. And you with us. Let's do it. The Travis and DeMarco Show this Monday right now.
Andy Kamenetsky here for DeMarco, who is in Arizona, getting ready for tonight's game. The Rams and Vikings, obviously relocated because of the fires here in Southern California. We're thinking about everybody out there that has been displaced, that has lost property, maybe even lost some loved ones. Thank you to all of the first responders involved in doing what they've doing. And Andy, you and I were talking about a minute ago, those guys that are flying the airplanes and the helicopters, my goodness, those guys are a special kind of something. Just to in and out of the smoke-filled canyons with a jet, that is nuts.
You know, the movie Taken, I have a very specific set of skills. Like, that's one of those, you don't wake up one morning just knowing how to do that.
No.
I can't even fathom going out and doing that.
No, it's extraordinary, and God bless everybody that is out there doing what it is you're doing to keep all of us as safe as humanly possible. We're thinking of you. We're going to talk about everything that's going on, but you're not far from our thoughts at any given time, and it's great to be back on today. There's a lot going on, namely the Rams at the Vikings, or I should say in Arizona against the Vikings. Rams are the home team, and here's what Les Sneed was on with us earlier. He said they're going to have the mariachis are going to be there. Nita is there. Sam Lagana, the voice of the Rams, is going to be there. The Who's house guy, love Sam. They're going to paint the field in Rams colors, but it's Arizona's house. So all the seats will be red, so they're going to do the best they can. But
they're bussing in season ticket holders. I've been seeing, different people tweeting at us.
Buddy of mine, Brett Hardy, who was a teammate of mine at UCSB, is on one of the buses. He just sent me a picture from one of it, and it looks like, the reason we have to do this is awful and it sucks, but it looks like everybody's like kind of excited to go have an adventure. So,
man, keep us
posted.
People need some type of break from this, and all these Rams fans going to Arizona, they're fully aware that they are eventually coming back to LA, and they're coming back to a city that is going to be nowhere close to everything
Andy, I don't mean to
required.
interrupt you. I'm looking at Adam Schefter on the TV right now. He's inside the building in Arizona, and it looks like the Cardinals stadium when they've slid in the Rams field.
Yeah.
Like the Rams colors are on the field, but everything else around it is red.
Look, man, it's cool of the Cardinals to do this for the Rams, the division rival. It's a reminder that these guys, at the end of the day, can recognize the things that are truly important.
Mm-hmm.
And, as I was saying, like these fans that are in Arizona, they know they're eventually coming back to an LA that has a long process of recovery ahead of them. And that this is still going to be an active situation. And they're not fooling themselves, but it's human nature to seek breaks from this sort of thing.
Yes.
And this will be, I think, a really fun, beneficial break for all of those fans going there, hopefully watching the Rams win.
Hope so.
Yeah, there's plenty of people, across the country that like to make fun of the Rams. If they're like, oh, you can't fill up your own house. It's like, tonight, they're going to go and they're going to travel. They have real fans going to Arizona to fill up that stadium with Rams fans and, take it over. And also people, make fun of LA saying, oh, it's only rich people and fake people and people on Instagram. And I think this shows in a terrible fashion that it's affecting everybody. There's more than one type of person in LA.
Yep.
And I had just so many people reaching out to me from across the country that were my friends and everything. And they just don't realize, one, how big LA is. Two, how diverse LA is. And I think I didn't even know this before I moved here. And so, it's sad to find it out this way. But, I think that, Rams fans are going to go take over Arizona.
I hope so. And the reason that the Rams, have the opposing fans in their building is because everybody comes to live here. It's a great place to be. And it's a great city to be. And we're all lucky to live here. And unfortunately, we had a terrible, continuing to happen. I don't mean to make it sound like it's over because the fires are still burning and there's still a long way to go. But the reason every other team has fans here is because everybody from those places comes to live here.
Or just if you're going to make a weekend out of going to see an NFL game, this is one of the cities that you'll choose. Like, I remember we were joking when you and I were, when I was filling in for Kirk for the Cardinals-Rams game, and we were commenting how this was one of the few games where you did not see a sea of the other colors.
No.
It was like 97-3 blue versus red.
Yeah.
And I said, look, as somebody who grew up a fan of the then St. Louis Cardinals, now still have affection for the now Arizona Cardinals, that team has rarely given you a reason to show up in-state, much less travel. Like, you don't travel for a Cardinals game.
It's nice in Arizona, too. And here's the other thing. Rams have got good vibes in that building. I just thought of this. During the pandemic season, when the Rams, I believe it was a Monday night, as a matter of fact, that they were in Arizona, and right before the game, it was maybe the Saturday before, it might even have been the Sunday before, it might even have been that Monday morning. I really don't remember exactly. Like, half of the Rams starters tested positive for COVID.
This was in their Super Bowl season.
This is in their, where they just all of a sudden, like, everybody, nope, you're gone. And they went in there with one hand tied behind their back and absolutely smashed the Cardinals. And it's like, oh, okay. Sometimes, adverse circumstances can lead to kind of that rallying point, and
it's also a grass field too. So it's going to be good for those.
They've been there. They've been there every year for a very long time. So it should feel familiar, much like having a disappointing end of the season feels familiar for Charger fans. Okay, I said this last week. The Chargers could lose in Wildcard weekend. They could still have a great season, and I believe that's true. That the Chargers won. They win 10, maybe 11 games, went to the playoffs in Jim Harbaugh's first year, is a ringing success. The Chargers were dreadful last season. They won 4 or 5 games. Dreadful. Jim Harbaugh shows up and they go to the playoffs. They're the 5 seed. They're the top wild card team. They gave the Chiefs, a run for their money both times. And Jim Harbaugh's methodology is clearly doing what it's done everywhere else. It did it at San Diego, did it at Stanford, did it at San Francisco, did it at Michigan. It's happening here in L.A. Then they went into the playoffs and they chargered. And they chargered in the sense that Texans had 4 turnovers and 1 going away. Their franchise quarterback threw more interceptions in one game than he'd thrown all season long. And I think if you're a Charger fan, you can come out of that game feeling good about the direction of your team. And if you're a Charger fan, you're coming out of that game not feeling so great about the quarterback that you thought you had.
I mean, there's a lot of chargering demons for Jim Harbaugh to exercise. Like, you can't just do that in one season. Like, there's decades of history.
Multiple exorcisms.
Jim Harbaugh is great at what he does, but he is but just a man at the same time. The Justin Herbert thing, though, that's going to give fans pause right now. Because
he was bad, Andy.
He was very bad. It's not the first time they've seen him bad in the playoffs. And I know he's been hurt a lot this season, but he has not looked spectacular. He has not looked like the guy that I think everybody felt like he was on the road to becoming. Because remember, early in his career, Herbert looked like the dude.
Yep. He's got some skills and some raw abilities that are undeniably special.
And I know he's competitive as hell. I know it seems like his teammates love him.
Yep, all of those things. He's also 3 games over 500 in his career and has never won a playoff game. And this is 5 years in. And I get it. They've had some bad coaches there, Brandon Staley. They've had some roster turnover. He doesn't have a ton of weapons right now. But this idea that they have a special guy at quarterback, I think you at least have to take a second look at that. I don't think that you can just say, oh, they got a great quarterback. They got a good quarterback. And that's a ways away from a great quarterback. And more often than not, if you're going to make a run through the postseason, everything needs to be perfect, or you need to have a great quarterback. And I don't think he is that.
Or you have to figure out how close is he to great? Like, what's the distance between him currently good? And he's definitely good.
He's good.
He's a well above average quarterback. There's no question. And there are times where he looks elite. But, like, what is the space between Justin Herbert being consistently good versus consistently great, and what are the things preventing him from being consistently great?
There's a group of quarterbacks that when they have the ball playing against your team, you're scared of him. He ain't that. Like I think he falls into that. Is he good? Yeah. Is he gonna put a fan? Sure. But they're down 4 points. He has the ball. There's 2 minutes to go. Are you worried about it? No. He doesn't. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Pat, and I'm not saying. Look, there's only maybe a handful of those guys. Lamar Jackson. There's only a very small group of them, but he's not in it.
It's a case by case basis with Herbert. Like there will be games where he's played so well he is scary in that scenario, but you rarely enter the game scared of Herbert.
Look at who he's throwing to. If it's not to Ladd McConkey, it's basically going nowhere. He has Quentin Johnson and Ladd McConkey. He has no help. They traded away all their offensive weapons last offseason. So I think it has to do with he also has no one to throw with, to throw to.
I hear you. It's been 5 years. It's not just 1 year. He loses as often as he wins, basically. And both times, both playoff games were ripe to win. You go back to the one against Jacksonville, they had a 27-point lead or whatever it was, and they blew it. The Texans didn't play very well. They were physical, and they made some plays when they needed to make some plays. They got that blocked PAT, but that wasn't the Ravens or the Bills or the Chiefs. That was the Houston Texans who were kind of like, whatever. And they looked terrible. They turned it over 4 times too. It just, these are games that's not like, hey, Land, we ran into a buzzsaw. If you're Josh Allen, and every time he loses, basically, it's because Patrick Mahomes rips the carpet out from underneath him. That's not what happened to the Chargers, not to Justin Herbert both times.
I think it's funny because I think I saw someone refer to this as like the what-if draft, and the what-if draft involving Justin Herbert. Like, what if Justin Herbert had a good coach? What if Justin Herbert had weapons? You have Tua Tagovailoa. Like, what if he was healthy the entire season? I think there's other quarterbacks. Look, it's like, we can say what if around Justin Herbert. Eventually, you have to show up.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. We were talking before about Sam Darnold and, like, all the chaos that he dealt with early in his career. Because I will admit, when he came out of SC, granted, I've got some biases, whatever, I thought he was going to be really good.
So did I.
And clearly, so did a lot of other people because he got drafted really high. And he ended up being tossed into chaos early in his career, and that clearly hurt his development. Like, those early years are really important. And Justin Herbert has not always had the weapons around him that you'd want. I think, though, what would be, if I were a Charger fan, a little bit disturbing is it feels like he's gotten worse over the years.
He hasn't gotten better.
He has not gotten better.
Yeah.
Maybe worse is too strong, but it feels like he was just as good when he first entered the league as he is now.
I think next year is going to be a really telling season for Justin. We know Jim Harbaugh knows what he's doing. It's just it's written in stone. Jim Harbaugh is a good NFL. Jim Harbaugh is a good coach. Full stop. There's no qualifications. Is he good enough to go where Jim Harbaugh? And I think the answer is yes. And they got to get better some other places. But you can perform as many Charger exorcisms as you want with Harbaugh. But if your quarterback is limited, your quarterback is limited. There's not much you can get beyond that.
It's just such a fine line too. Because again,
it really is.
Justin Herbert is, just to make it clear, because of the way we've been talking about this, he is not a bad quarterback. He's nowhere close to a bad quarterback. But the line between being a good quarterback, like legitimately good and great, and the importance of being great, like there's only a handful of guys. That's part of the reason why someone like Brock Purdy he's going to get paid.
Sure.
even if you think Brock Purdy's like, B- level quarterback, B, something of a game manager, he's still better than 97% of your options.
Yep. I'm going to steal a line from Sean McVay. Be at your best when your best is required. He hasn't done that.
Right.
He has moments where he's quite good and maybe even better than quite good. But are you at your best when you have to be at your best? And so far for Justin Herbert, the answer has been no. He just had, and that's kind of the Chargers writ large, is that be at your best when your best is required. No, they haven't. They had one of their worst games of the season in that game. I mean, Justin threw 4 picks. He only threw 3 all season long, and a couple of them were really ugly picks along the way.
It's a lot.
There's
a lot of turnovers.
How
in
many
that
more
game
exorcisms do they need? 3? 2? He performed.
Like a month.
Year.
They need a lot. There's a lot of
Harbaugh might be the guy to do
a lot of bad mojo within that organization.
All right, we got a national championship game coming up a week from tonight as well. And Andy, I wish there were different teams, but they got the right teams. I'll explain. That's coming up next. It's Trav and Andy, 710 ESPN. This is where DeMarco and I usually tell you about the law offices of Joseph S. Normand. DeMarco was recently involved in a little fender bender. He called Joseph S. Normand. My son Bobby involved in an accident a few years ago, I should say, Joseph S. Normand. There's a reason that DeMarco calls Joe and I call Joe when this goes down, because you want an expert, right? You want somebody that understands what the insurance company is trying to do to you. You want somebody that understands that you need somebody to kind of lead you through all of this, to tell you what's going to happen, to explain to you all of your options. And that's what Joe does. And he makes you feel like a member of his family. And he's going to feel like a member of your family because he just knows what's going on. So if you've been hurt in an accident, car accident, or really any sort of accident at all, give Joe and his team a call. 213-747-2000. That's 213-747-2000. Of course, you can go to normandlegal.com. But really, don't take the insurance company's word for it. Don't trust them. Trust Joe. 213-747-2000. And when you call Joe, tell him that Travis and DeMarco sent you.
The Kings' 5-game win streak is over, but they're back in action again tonight against Pacific Division rival Edmonton, with 2 massive points on the line. Quinton Byfield scored twice when the teams last met 2 weeks ago, and capped off the game with the overtime winner.
To Kempe, into the zone to Deneau, and to Byfield. Byfield down to the left circle, shoots, scores! Quinton Byfield from the left wing. Kings win it in overtime, 4-3.
Kings, Oilers, tonight at 6:30, right here on 710 ESPN and the ESPN LA Kings Radio Network.
After you use Bounce Dryer sheets and realize how fresh, soft, less wrinkled, and less staticky your laundry can be, you'll put a sheet on it every time. Like those socks that smell like they've been through a marathon. Or that blanket that's got wrinkles on its wrinkles. Maybe even your chatty coworker who keeps distracting you. Okay, Bounce Dryer sheets can't do it all. But for fresher, softer, better laundry, put a sheet on it with Bounce.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LEARN for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LEARN for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LEARN.
Hey everybody, it's Cappy, and we are so happy to be back on the air with you today as we and the entire community all try and move forward just a little bit this week. But because of the Rams and the Lakers tonight, Sedano and I don't have a show. So how about tomorrow we do some two-a-days? Join us tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. for a little Sedano and Cap morning show action. Morales is going to be on the Wheels of Steel, and then we'll be back in the afternoon for our 3-hour regular show, Sedano and Cap. Tomorrow, 7 to 9 in the morning, then 3 to 6 in the afternoon. Two-a-days tomorrow, Tuesday, 7:10 ESPN, the ESPN LA app, and always on YouTube.
Hope everybody is safe out there and dealing with what's been going on here in town to the best that we all can. It really is nice to be back on the air with all of you and to get a chance to talk about all the things that we talk about each and every day. We're thinking of you if you've lost property, if you've lost people, of course, and anything else over the last couple of days. You are not far from our thoughts at any given time. It's a tough time for the city that we all live in and love, but we're gonna keep doing what we're doing and simultaneously keep considering what everybody's dealing with at the same time.
Hopefully it helps. I mean, it's very easy when something like this is happening that is, a natural disaster, like, or not natural, but a natural disaster at this type of scale.
Yeah.
That we've seen is so difficult to contain. And that's something that's still being worked through as we speak. It's easy to feel pretty helpless in it.
Well,
like, what can I do? And the answer is a lot of it can't be controlled for a while, but you want to feel like you're doing something at all that feels constructive.
It's, having lived in LA for the majority of my life and we deal with stuff out here. There are fires are not an unusual occurrence here. There's mudslides. Occasionally you'll get a little flooding. There's earthquakes. There's all sorts of stuff that happens here. And you see it and it's like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. And you see some images and you kind of just, okay, that'll be over in a day or two. And then, you just kind of go to the next thing. You see these pictures and it's just so different because it's so much larger and so many structures. It's not just like in the mountains somewhere where everything burned, which is terrifying in and of itself, but the Eaton fire in the Palisades and just these are where people live and the structures that have been devastated. It's also a lot. And to try to wrap your head around how long it's going to take to put everything back to the way that it was, it's going to take years.
Also, you see the city coming together.
Yes.
To help each other out. And not just the city, but you got Canada, you got Mexico helping and stuff like that. Les Sneed also touched on that. The fact that you have other countries coming in here and help us out, it's just humanity. That's what it is.
My cousin is a firefighter in Savannah, Georgia, and it was like...
The handsome one?
You guys can decide that. But he was, just like he's like ready to go at any moment if they were called over and, willing to do anything. And, and also to people listening, it's like, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to be overwhelmed with this feeling that you're helpless, but you're not helpless. You have things that you can do. But just if you need someone to reach out to, there are plenty of resources out there. Don't be afraid because it's okay not to be okay.
Indeed it is. Obviously, during the chaos of all of this, they played a couple of college football national semifinals. The first time we've had a Final Four in football. Championship game a week from tonight, Ohio State and Notre Dame. And look, let me just put it this way, Andy. Not for a single second in my entire life have I ever rooted for Ohio State or Notre Dame.
Me neither.
Ohio State is a really hard team to get behind unless, I guess, you're from Columbus or an Ohio State alum. Notre Dame is a little. They're Notre Dame. We'll just leave it at that. I like that these are the first two teams after the college football playoff that we got two blue bloods. Good riddance to Cinderella. I don't like it in basketball. I really don't like it in football that we have heavyweights in the championship game. I like that a lot.
Snobbery in full effect.
Yeah, good. I am a sports snob of the highest order. I want the Cowboys, the Lakers, the Dodgers, the Yankees. I want Ohio State, Notre Dame, USC, Texas, Alabama. Your little Tulane thing over there, that's really cute. Leave it out. Keep it off my TV.
Here's what I would say as far as like this playoff in particular, and this being the first one, similar to how like whatever you think of the NBA Cup, and really we're not going to know how much this thing really means as far as NBA culture 5-10 years down the road.
No, I'm with you, yeah.
We're not going to know.
I
know how you currently feel about it. But
indeed,
in terms of, it's not an event for us. It's not meant to be for us. It's meant to be for younger fans to latch onto, and it gains currency for them. But it was, I think, very beneficial for them, the league, that the Lakers were the first team to win.
Without a doubt.
Because that automatically adds an importance to it because it's the Lakers. Similar to with this playoff. Down the road, could there be room for Cinderellas for anybody other than for you specifically? Sure.
Look, if we get a Cinderella once every quarter century, fine. But that's about as frequently as I want it.
Right, but between now and the next 24 years, it's really important that this thing was established right away where you get two blue bloods, because then people can't complain.
No, and I think it helped a great deal, too.
They will complain, but
not in. They can complain all they want, but no one.
It doesn't seem gimmicky.
It doesn't. And the round of 8, the games stunk. They just stunk. They just weren't good games. They weren't very competitive. Other than Texas ASU, games were lousy. The two semifinal games were both really fun to watch. The Ohio State-Texas game was kind of weird because Texas had a chance to tie the game late, and then they had that weird sack, scoop and score. But that game never felt close, even though the score was kind of close. It was exciting, the finish. And then the Penn State Notre Dame game, the Penn State guy just lost his damn mind and threw it over the middle of the field. It's like, I guess we're just, I'll just throw a jump ball and see what happens. That was nuts.
My mom is a Penn State alum, huge Penn State fan. She came here to USC to watch the Penn State game, and her reaction was just like, well, it was a great season. She's just so defeated. She's like, it's okay. They tried their best. I'm like, no, they were so close to winning. They should have won.
They were so close to winning. They probably should have won. And that with the quarterback, I'm blanking on his name right now. Help me out with the quarterback's name, Em. He just made a dreadful decision. You make 1,000 decisions as a quarterback. Drew Aller. That 1,000 decisions, and 5 or 10 of them or 15 of them are probably going to be bad, even under the best. And Patrick Mahomes probably makes 5 bad decisions a game. You can't do that.
No, no, you cannot.
You can't do that.
I love, too, how Ohio State being in this championship game, potentially in the position to win it all, reveals just how stupid all the conversation about Ryan Day has been this whole time. Because he's the exact same coach that everybody was saying you need to fire because he can't win the big one, because he can't beat Michigan. He now is going to be in a position to get himself a fat extension.
Okay, I got to.
And it's all stupid.
You're right. You're right. I'm not saying it's not stupid, but I need to think myself through this in real time. Is what we're seeing not part of what's going to change college football dramatically moving forward? Because think about it. Ohio State losing to Michigan was the best possible thing for them. They were going to the college football playoff whether they won or lost that game. If they win that game, they probably are one of the top 4. Who would have seen what they would have done against Oregon in the Big Ten? But they're probably in the top 4. They probably get a bye, and they probably are in a different mindset. Instead, they lose to Michigan because everybody in that part of the country with the roots for that team, that's the only game. We'd rather go 1-11 and beat Michigan than go 11-1 and no, you wouldn't, because here's what's about to happen. That's the one game you lost. You're going to win the national championship. I think they're going to dump truck Notre Dame. And that rivalry, while still wildly important, maybe slightly less important if at the back end of it, even though you lost, the one game you lost was to Michigan, we won the whole thing. That's a pretty damn good consolation prize.
It gets to a constant. You see this every year in college sports in particular, because these are these specific rivalries. But if, say, whoever is coaching UCLA, they're on the hot seat, but they can keep their job if they beat USC or the other way around, or they've been a little bit up and down, but if they lose to UCLA for the third year in a row, you got to get rid of them. Like, it's the dumbest criteria. Like,
it is.
If you're having this conversation, what it really means is you want to fire your coach. You just haven't discovered the cojones yet to do it. Or in the case of someone like, I don't know, Lincoln Riley or Ryan Day or whatever, like the payout is too big, like the buyout is too big. But you've already made up your mind how you feel about that coach. The arbitrary marker of have to beat the rival school is the dumbest criteria to fire or keep a coach.
Ohio State people are going to have a hard time reconciling these two things because they loathe the fact that he lost to Michigan again. They're going to be national champions. Does it really not feel good? Well, we lost. So you're lying. So you wouldn't rather go 1-12 and beat Michigan because you're going to go 14-1 and win the whole thing.
Or I would say, and I'm an outsider, you might care a little too much about the Michigan game. Well, like if you would rather trade in a national championship for a coach that can beat Michigan, you care too much about that rivalry.
They do. Look, none of this makes any sense, and especially that kind of stuff makes no sense at all. Hot and Cold is coming up next. It's Trav. DeMarco's out. Andy's in. 710 ESPN. Rotolo Chevrolet, Dealer of the Year, year after year after. They don't have the Ohio State, Michigan. They just beat everybody every year. They don't have to worry about it. They don't have a rival. When you win every single year, that's what you do, and that's what you get at Rotolo Chevrolet. And right now, if you've been thinking about a new Silverado, no better place to be than Rotolo Chevrolet. And maybe you're thinking about something else. Maybe it's not a Silverado. Maybe it's a Colorado. Maybe it's anything in the Chevy line of cars and trucks. Get yourself to Rotolo Chevrolet. The price is going to be great. The selection, of course, it's going to be out of this world. They've got all the makes and models of the Silverados that you've been looking for. The customer service, only at Rotolo Chevrolet. Number one, year after year after year. That's why I bought cars from Rotolo. I've been driving Silverados for years now. So go see for yourself what all the fun's about at Rotolo Chevrolet. Go see why Mike Capozio's dancing on TV all the time. It's right off the 210 freeway, Sierra Avenue exit. You can't miss it. And if you can't get out to the store in Fontana, go online, RotoloChevy.com. That's ROTOLO, RotoloChevy.com, and tell them that Travis sent you.
Recent devastating wildfires have changed many lives already, but no one should have to face the aftermath alone. I'm Jacob Amrani, and my team is here to help. Don't let insurance companies make you feel powerless and take advantage of you as you try to put your lives together. Let us stand up for you. We'll handle the claim process and fight for what you're entitled to. Call today for guidance you can trust.
Call Jacob.
Bud Light was brewed to be a delicious and easy-to-drink beer. Even when the little things in life are hard. Like when the game is going into overtime, but you have even more time to enjoy it and a fresh Bud Light. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up a Bud Light at your local retailer today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
And it is the Travis and DeMarco Show. On this Monday, we're back. Happy to be on the radio today with you. So be part of the show. And we'll all get through this step by step. Remember, redcross.org/ESPN, the LA County Regional Food Bank, and lafoodbank.com. Our friends at Cosm tonight, hosting a Rams watch party. All proceeds going to the LAFD Foundation. Help where you can. And of course, so many GoFundMes out there for the victims of the 2025 Southern California wildfires. Right now, we get back to the Travis and DeMarco Show on 710. As you know, we've welcomed the new partner here at 710 ESPN, NextGen. NextGen, the official AC, heat, and plumbing company of SoCal sports fans.
You're as cold as ice.
Call 833-3-NEXTGEN, NEXGEN, or visit nextgenairandplumbing.com. Time for our feature we do 3 days a week. Who's hot? Who's cold? Thanks to NextGen. Boy, time for Who's Hot? Who's Cold? Take it away, Producer M.
All right. Thanks,
Aloha.
Chris. Aloha.
Aloha.
You know what's hot? Hobbies. Because God forbid someone like to read, okay? A.J. Brown was the subject of many Twitter conversation because he was seen reading a book on the sidelines during the game. A.J. Brown is the wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles. The book he was reading was called Inner Excellence by Jim Murphy, written to train your mind for extraordinary performance in the best possible life. So, A.J. Brown said he brings it to all his games, and he oftentimes will read it during games, but he just got caught doing it on the broadcast yesterday. He says, I wasn't frustrated at all. I figured that's what y'all probably thought, Brown said. Why do you always think I'd be frustrated? Dang, I like to read. Okay? So God forbid someone like to read.
I'm not saying that A.J. Brown doesn't like to read. I believe that the man likes to read. I'll buy that.
It's a well-worn book. There's highlighting sections.
I'm not even calling into question his authenticity for the content of that chosen book. It clearly was well-worn and highlighted and all that stuff. I believe he loves that book, whatever. I do have an issue with he has done this before. I have a hard time believing that with all of the way that NFL games are covered, that somebody reading on the sideline, somebody wouldn't see that and put that at somebody. Well, this is because who was doing that game? Was it? It was. I forget who was on the call, but they're all like, "Yeah, no, I've never seen that before. That was a new one for me. Seen somebody eating a hot dog was what they were talking about. It was Tom Brady and Burkhardt. They were on the call, and I don't know. It was weird. I'm glad that A.J. Brown likes to read, but that was a very bizarre scene.
This is one of those things, too. If you're going to be seen on the sidelines reading, your team better win.
Yeah, thankfully.
You really need to
Getting ready
win.
for Cancun.
You really got to win that game. It's very important.
I do like that this kind of gave us another one of the passive-aggressive A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts exchanges because, you know, they've got some feelings involved with one another. And they were asking Brown about Jalen Hurts' performance, and he said, I'm pretty sure he wishes he could get some plays back. I'm sure we could all say that. But for the most part, he handled the game. He didn't have any turnovers. We got the win, most importantly. This all depends on the context. I'm going to read this as no big deal, okay? Hey, I'm pretty sure he could get some plays back. We could all say that. But for the most part, he handled the game. He didn't have any turnovers. We got the win, most importantly. Or, yeah, I'm pretty sure he'd have to have some plays back. I mean, I guess we could all say that. But for the most part, he handled the game. He didn't have any turnovers. We got the win, most importantly. There's that, right? Those are same exact words, different tone. Hurts asked about Brown. I've never seen him read on the sideline. I've seen the book in his hands. Everybody has a different thing and finds their flow in different ways. That's how he chooses to do it. That feels like, man, this dude. That is everything but this dude. That's what that meant to me.
I have a feeling that Jalen Hurts has never read Inner Excellence himself, and he won't read Inner Excellence specifically because A.J. Brown is reading. He's like, I don't care what is in this book. I'm not reading the same book that mother effer's reading.
Do you reread books?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, because I rewatch movies. I will rewatch a TV show, but very rarely do I go back and reread a book.
It takes too much time.
Yeah.
But also
do you reread books? I know you read a lot.
Not really. I don't really reread books unless it's been like a decade since I read it, and I kind of forget.
That's usually when I look to do it too. I mean, I barely have enough time to read the books that I want to the first time around, much less second. But like my daughter in her 8th grade class, they just finished Of Mice and Men. I was like, you know what, man? I haven't read that book probably since like high school.
Stay away from Lenny.
He wants to tend the rabbits.
She loved it. She said she thought it was great. I was happy to hear that. Apparently, the whole class was moved.
It's hard not to like that book.
And Philadelphia fans are crazy and have made this book go #1 in the bestsellers. And we're like commenting and doing reviews saying, "This is for you, AJ." And then the Philadelphia Public Library System is currently working on adding an audiobook version to their digital services.
That book is going to show up at multiple Philadelphia residents' front door in an Amazon box. Open, go. Oh yeah, I did it. It's going to be thrown on the coffee table and never, ever cracked open.
Until, by the way, the Eagles lose, in which case the sales of that book is going to plummet, and that author is going to end up getting angry tweets directed at him and stuff like that because Eagles fans are insane.
That John's going to the moon, right?
Yeah, John. It was a weird scene. It felt odd.
Yeah. But God forbid he have a hobby. All right, what's cold is Yankees fans. Okay, so the 2 Yankees fans that interfere with Mookie Betts are now being banned from MLB games. Quote, this was the letter that they received in the mail. Your conduct posed a serious risk to the health and safety of the player and went far over the line of acceptable fan behavior. Based on your conduct, Major League Baseball is banning you indefinitely from all MLB stadiums, offices, and other facilities. You are also hereby banned indefinitely from attending any events sponsored by or associated with the MLB. So, great thing, those 2, whats, are going to be out of there.
Look, I'm worried about the direction that we're headed in with AI and Big Brother, for lack of a better word. This is one of the times I fully support Big Brother and AI because I've seen facial recognition at work. Because before, when you're banned. Yeah, how are you? The Yankee Stadium holds 50,000 people. How are you going to find 2 guys that want to come to it? If you go to a Twins game and these 2 jokers show up, you're really going to say, you're the guys from the Yankees. It's never going to happen. Except for now, it can happen. That you and I
Intuit Dome.
You walk up to you and I do it every week. When you go to the press box at SoFi, you get within a few feet of this scanner, and it either lights up green or red. They're not looking at credentials; just looking at your face.
I mean, not even like if you have glasses. If you don't have glasses, if your hair in a different style, they will recognize you.
Yeah, it's wild.
First, I want to preface by what I'm about to say with this was the correct decision. These guys should be banned.
Yes.
I'm glad to see it happen. That being said, if I were one of these guys, because you can't get banned twice, I would make it my life's mission to get inside one of these Yankees games. I would be trying to beat the system 24/7. I would be getting like Ron Valentine style glasses.
Bobby Valentine.
Bobby Valentine, excuse me.
Yeah.
Bobby Valentine. I would be trying to pull like a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible. You rip the face off. I would be going crazy trying to get in.
I'm going to be serious for half a second. Can we all just chill out when we go to these games, please? Cheer, yell, scream. You want to boo somebody, if that's your deal, go ahead. Keep your hands to yourself, man. I'm going to help my team. No, stop.
No, you actively hurt your team in that moment.
It's just so they mugged Mookie.
Well, those guys in particular, A, they were liquored up to the hilt, and B, they were just jackwagons. Like they were describing themselves like the way they saw themselves as gatekeepers and protectors. It was like they were the Hell's Angels of fans, and their rationale for doing this, like, we're here to protect that wall. You want me on that wall. You need me. Like, dude,
just be a fan. Buy your hat, drink your beer,
You're
sit
hurting
there and
the team you're supposed to be protecting.
it's dumb.
Plus, it was early in the game too when they have it.
It was a mugging in the middle of the game. It's like, no, you're not a part of this. I know we're fans. I know we all want our teams to win. You're not there as an agent of chaos for your team. Just knock it off. Game Day Comfort is powered by NextGen, the official plumbing, heating, and AC company of SoCal sports fans. Call 833-3-NEXTGEN. That's 833-3-NEXGEN to snag their $88 drain cleaning today. The Dump, little super crosstalk coming up next. It's Travis DeMarco. Andy's in for DeMarco on 710 ESPN.
And remember what is on tap today here on 710 ESPN. Coming up at 3 o'clock, the Rams countdown to kickoff with Travis Rogers and Kirk Morrison. Rams-Vikings from Arizona at 5 p.m. And you'll hear all of Rams football on 710 ESPN and the all-new ESPN LA app. Lakers are back on the court tonight at Crypto.com Arena. Lakers-Spurs. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. You'll hear that on AM 830 KLAA and 790 KABC, along with the ESPN LA app. So Rams on 710, Lakers on 790 and 830, and the app. Plus, Kings are up in Edmonton to battle the Oilers. You'll hear that tonight, as always, on the all-new ESPN LA app. That's what's on tap. Thanks to our friends at Michelob Ultra, right here today on 710 ESPN.
I'm here with Dr. Monica Madden. Explain Invisalign to me, because I think when people see that word and they see the price tag, sometimes they get scared off, but it's actually a pretty big improvement. When I grew up, I had braces and I had those big metal brackets along my teeth. If I came to Beverly Hills Ortho in 2024, I don't necessarily need that metal, do I?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started out with braces only, and then Invisalign came along, and it's like putting a plastic tray on your teeth, switching it out every week, and all of a sudden, months into it, your teeth are much straighter. Now, it feels like putting a glove on your hand. It's so comfortable and it's easy. Like no emergencies, no pokey wires, no broken brackets. It's really straightforward and great.
Here's how you get in touch with Beverly Hills Ortho. Call this number, 877-7-LET'S-DO-THIS. That's 877-753-8736 or BeverlyHillsOrtho.com.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text HIM to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text HIM to 321-321. That's HIM to 321-321.
And it is the Travis and DeMarco Show. On this Monday, we're back. Happy to be on the radio today with you. So be part of the show. And we'll all get through this step by step. Remember, redcross.org/ESPN, the LA County Regional Food Bank, and lafoodbank.com. Our friends at Cosm tonight, hosting a Rams watch party. All proceeds going to the LAFD Foundation. Help where you can. And of course, so many GoFundMes out there for the victims of the 2025 Southern California wildfires. Right now, we get back to the Travis and DeMarco Show on 710. It's time for everything we haven't gotten to today. Yes, it's time for the dump.
All right, before we get to all of the dump items, a reminder what's on tap today here at 710. Thanks to our friends at Michelob Ultra. Rams, of course, hosting the Vikings. Wildcard Monday night, State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Coverage begins with the pregame show at 3 o'clock. That's me and Kirk on 710 ESPN and the app. The Lakers, of course, return to the court tonight, hosting the San Antonio Spurs. Coverage for that game is on AM 830 KLAA at 6 o'clock and 790 KABC. And, of course, the all-new ESPN LA app, plus Kings Oilers at 6 tonight on the app as well. Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. A lot going on, and obviously some postponements along the way. The Rams relocated to Arizona. The Kings missed, I know for sure, one game. The Lakers missed 2 games. Clippers back at it tonight as well. So even though there's still a lot going on, a lot of moving parts, and we're keeping our eye and our hearts and minds on all of this, it's back to the events taking place in the city or taking place in the city.
It's awkward, and it's going to be awkward to some degree, but I also think it's nice to have. Like, I think it is good for the city to have this stuff.
No doubt about it. All right, let's talk about some of those other playoff games that we didn't get a chance to do. Ravens 28, Steelers 14. Any chance at all, it's the end of the line for Mike. Not that they would blow him out, but some sort of, they come to, they have not won a playoff game in closing in on a decade, right, Em?
Yeah.
They looked terrible through the end of the line. They lost 4 games in a row at the end of the season. They got blown out of that game. They clearly are not on the level with the Ravens. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season, but it feels like they're kind of caught in no man's land right now.
So I'll say all this with the preface that I don't think that they will fire him. But if they did fire him, here would be the reasons why. You just need a hard restart. Clearly, something is not going through. This team is not performing in the playoffs. Always peters out at the end of the season. Can't measure up. And you're never going to be bad enough to get a good draft pick or to bottom out if Mike Tomlin is your head coach. He also, himself, he's a great coach. Yes, he gets his teams to play hard, but he doesn't have a coaching tree. He's been in the league for a very long time, been very successful in the league for a very long time, but he doesn't really have coaches that are coaches underneath him.
Is that his fault?
I don't know if it's his fault, but maybe he just has old.
I genuinely do not know the answer to this. Does he have like a long-time staff of guys who've been around him for a while?
He has some guys he tends to have older coaches around him, as opposed to the Sean McVay tree, the Matt LaFleur tree, the Andy Reid tree, even, that has these young, innovative coaches underneath him. He tends to go older, established, which might mean tired and stale.
I'm going to put 2 local teams together with this. This reminds me a little bit of the Dodgers, and it reminds me a lot of the Lakers. The little bit of the Dodgers point that reminds me of, everybody, get rid of Dave Roberts. Okay. Hold on a second.
Y'all didn't deserve Dave Roberts.
But the idea of, that almost guaranteed whoever you get's not going to be as good as Dave Roberts. I think the same would be true of Mike Tomlin. Whoever you go get, he's probably not as good of a coach as Mike Tomlin is. The Laker part that reminds me of, for different reasons, the coaching carousel that the Lakers have going on is literally the exact opposite of what the Steelers have, but they're kind of stuck in that middle. They're too good to be bad to get better, but they're not good enough to actually make a run at it. You're kind of stuck right in the bottom of the good teams.
Well, I think also, too, if you're making that comparison between the Lakers and the Steelers, there's the question of what will the organization allow? Will the organization allow a rebuild? Because the Lakers, for example, they are very clearly an organization that has absolutely no interest in a ground-up rebuild, which means you are limiting a lot of your options about how you go about building something. If you're saying,
yes,
a third to a half of our options, we're not going to take that leaves yourself with only 50% of the board. If the Steelers are an organization that refuse to ever bottom out, then build up, that limits a lot of their options. The question, though, I'd have to Emily, like you mentioned them petering out in the playoffs. How many times, though, I really don't know the answer, would you say that they had business winning that game? Because,
almost none.
Right. So I don't know how you can hold that against
They should have
Mike
beat the
Tomlin.
Browns. They should have beat the Browns in 2020. But also, you should have a team that can compete in the playoffs.
But that's not
your goal.
But that's not a Mike Tomlin thing, though. Mike Tomlin is not the guy. They have not been talent rich.
But they're a
in
10-plus win team most of the time. You should have more talent.
I keep coming back to the Dodgers. At some point, and I believe this to be true of Dave Roberts, had keep in mind, the Dodgers were a game away from the Padres getting knocked out again. It was that would have been 3 years in a row to a team that had obviously won a lot fewer games. Sometimes you just need to change because you need to change, and things get a little stale. You need to light a fire under people, and I'm not saying it's always going to turn it around. You could get worse, but sometimes change for change's sake.
What's going to happen? What's going to happen? They're going to keep Mike Tomlin, and they're going to replace the quarterback with Sam Darnold or Aaron Rodgers or some other old guy.
But that gets back
Jimmy
to
Garoppolo.
front office methodology as opposed to a Mike Tomlin thing. Because I would argue, again, to me, the Steelers have not been a talent-rich team in a while. The fact that they keep winning 10 games speaks to Mike Tomlin successfully lighting a fire under them. They're overachieving.
Here's a reason why you might want to do something like make a change, because it was on this day yesterday, January 12th, 2016, that the Rams hired Sean McVay. Everything changed after that. And I'm not saying there's dozens of Sean McVays to go get, but I'll give Kevin Demoff and Les Sneed and those guys that made that decision all the credit in the world, because I remember when they announced that they hired Sean McVay. I knew that he was on the Washington staff, but beyond that, I didn't know anything about him. I called Kirk, and Eric Davis was working here at the time, and I called Eric too, and I said, what do I need to know about this guy? And they said, he's going to be great if he's ready, but by the time he's ready, you might not get a chance to hire him. And they went and they hired a guy that was 30 years old or whatever he was, and it changed the direction of this organization, and they've been a heavyweight in the NFL since the moment he stepped in the league.
The difference, though, is they replaced Jeff Fisher. And whether you were hiring Sean McVay or not, it was very clear they needed to fire Jeff Fisher.
100%. I'm not defending Jeff. I'm just saying that a new person in that chair, even if you're replacing a legend like Mike Tomlin or just you're replacing a guy like Jeff Fisher, if you get the right guy in that position, stuff can turn around pretty quick. By the way, AFC champion come out of that winner between Baltimore and Buffalo, you think? Or is it still KC?
Logically, it feels like it should, yet the Chiefs are doing their sorcery.
The Mahomes really like their precious metals. They had another kid over the weekend and named him Golden. They have a bronze and a sterling already.
And watch out for his, dad bump.
Yes.
Wait. What?
Yes. Yeah, he had a baby over the weekend.
Golden
Mahomes?
Golden Ray.
Well, there's Golden Ray, but there's Golden Tate exists.
There's Gold, and he has a sterling.
Wait, Golden Ray Mahomes?
Uh-huh.
Yep. And they have sterling.
And bronze too, I believe. Yeah. They like precious metals.
First of all, talk about bringing down the self-esteem of your child, bronze compared to gold.
I mean,
kid came out of the womb as a favorite, apparently, this Golden
We had
character.
a rule when we were naming the Rodgers children. I need to have known at least 5 of this name growing up before we're doing any of this.
Yeah, I mean,
I need to know a lot of these.
Golden Tate. Like, oh, yeah, look at all the Goldens. Golden Tate and...
Go back to our Golden Richards, wide receiver for the Cowboys and the Bears. There's multiple Goldens out there.
So many.
The world is lousy with Goldens, Andy. Get on board. Super Crosstalk's coming up next. Pass to win and end the game or getting into an accident. Hey, it's Trav with DeMarco.
Only one all-star defense team you can call to defend you. The personal injury law offices of Joseph S. Normand. Visit normandlegal.com or call 213-747-2000.
Don't get sacked by others. Joseph will help you achieve the maximum compensation you deserve. Visit normandlegal.com or call 213-747-2000. That's 213-747-2000.
Let Joseph and his team score a touchdown for you.
When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. We are ranked number 18 in the nation and number 1 in Orange County for orthopedic and spine care by U.S. News and World Report. From the surf to the green, our world-class doctors are there, which is why more Californians choose Hoag Orthopedic Institute for orthopedic and spine care more than any other hospital. At Hoag Orthopedic Institute, there is no one better at getting you back to you. Proudly founded by premier physicians in partnership with Hoag. Learn more at HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com.
Hey, it's D4. If you're like me, you just don't want to watch the game. You want the best experience every time. That's why Absolute Sport is a game changer. VIP access to the biggest games, exclusive pregame parties, luxury hotels, whether it's courtside, ringside, or the 50-yard line, Absolute Sport makes sure you're there, not just watching, you're living the action. Visit us.absolute-sport.com. That's ABSOLUT-sport, and make your next sporting experience absolutely unforgettable.
Hi, this is Sean McVay of your LA Rams. The Rams play here. KSPN, Los Angeles.
710 ESPN.
A good karma brands radio station. KSPN AM 710 Los Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles.
K256CX 99.1 FM Pasadena, Los Angeles.
It's the greatest segment in LA sports radio history.
Oh my God. When the shows come together for magic on the radio.
It will only grow stronger. Super Crosstalk.
Super Crosstalk presented by In-N-Out Burger. In-N-Out. That's what a hamburger is all about.
It's time for Super Crosstalk.
Whoa, indeed, Mace. Mace is here. Iron is walking in right now. Obviously, it's the first day that we've all been back since the fire started on Tuesday. It's really nice to be back on with everybody. Hopefully, provide a little bit of a distraction along the way, Mace. But we were just talking a little bit during the break. I heard that you and yours and all your people are safe and sound, so that's good news.
Yeah, totally safe. We were not in the fire zone, thank God. But thinking about and just hanging on every news report.
Sure.
Since last Tuesday, and I heard Emily shout out. I thought all the local news did
Amazing.
a really nice job in keeping everybody plugged in and letting everybody know what was going on. Probably as important a few days for local news as there's been in a really long time.
This tragedy is a reminder of why local news actually matters.
Yeah.
Because it's been hollowed out all over the country, but times like this, it's incredibly important.
John, you worked in local news for a long time.
Yeah, it's almost 30 years.
Yeah, I would imagine. Did you ever have an event? I mean, maybe not to this scope, but where it's just all hands on deck, 24/7, the way it was.
Yeah, well, people forget in 2018 there were fires, not to this scale, but in 2018 there were fires in that area up by the Getty Center, and so this is where, like Andy was saying, this is where local news earns its money.
Yeah,
and they were going commercial free for, I don't know, 4 or 5 days
for
in a
like
row.
24 hours a day they were doing.
Yeah. And, I'll tell you guys, I think we're all in shock.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know if it's the right thing to be on the air. I don't know if it's the right thing to, openly talk about the fires. But I'll say this, because I think what our goal is here is to provide a diversion. I know I'm doing a Laker game tonight, and that keeps coming up in all my Laker correspondence.
Right.
It's like, look, we're hoping to give people 3 hours where they don't have to think about this. But I don't know if I've ever been prouder of the way this city has rallied in just the face of indescribable disaster. Anybody who knows me knows my buddy Greg Champion. We've been friends for 4 years.
I heard about this. Yeah.
Lost everything. He lost his business, his
Greg.
kids' school, and his house all on the first day.
Yeah.
I just saw him this morning. He's actually going to move his family to Manhattan Beach, but he was overwhelmed with gratitude. Like, I've been on so many GoFundMes. Oh, by the way, okay, so this is a kind of a public service thing if you're on GoFundMe. Will Flores, who's been the board op here in all our Laker games for several years, his parents lost their house. Rohan Ali, who is our photographer for the Lakers, his parents lost their house in Altadena. Dan Grigsby, our attorney, J.J. Redick. I know so many people that have all lost their houses, and a lot of these places, Greg, have GoFundMes. And so I was contributing to the GoFundMes, and what I didn't notice was if you don't change it, they'll charge you for lack of a better term, an administrative fee. And it's expensive. It's like, I know I gave somebody money, and then they charged me $120 in fees.
Oh, no.
Wow.
And so Lisa caught it, and she said, hey, email them and tell them you didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
So I did, and they said, okay, we'll refund your money. We'll refund your, in lack of a better word, tip. And if you don't want to do that in the future, if you don't want to pay that fee or leave a tip for the GoFundMe people, there's a slider, and you just move it to 0.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have to pay that administrative fee if you don't want to. What I ended up doing was I paid a smaller administrative fee on the first GoFundMe I did, and then I wiped it out on all the other ones.
Also, too, and I hate even having to say this, but unfortunately I do. I learned this. Darian Vaziri, the host of Locked On Clippers.
I know Darian. Is actually his mom is my optometrist.
No kidding.
He's a really good guy. He is
guy.
a huge LA sports fan.
He does
in general.
Locked On Clippers.
Does
right?
Locked On Clippers, and his family lost their home.
Yeah.
And there is you can find it on my Twitter feed at Cam Brothers. I tweeted out a GoFundMe that I know is legit, but there had been people posing under Darian's name, trying to solicit PayPal money for themselves, just scamming off tragedy. So
it's going on, though. Yeah, this is a good point.
Just double check and make sure. But again, someone like Darian, somebody like the people that John just mentioned, if you can, please do try to help.
And by the way, the Lakers are involved in a fire relief project, too, today. All day long today at the UCLA Health Training Center. You can drop off non-food items like toiletries and stuff like that. Food items like peanut butter and trail mix and stuff like that. You can drop it off at the UCLA Health Training Center. They're doing it all day today. And then tonight at Crypto, if you're coming to the game, there will be donation bins here, too.
Yeah, you get a sense. We had Les Sneed on with us earlier today, and he was talking about the process of relocating the game to Arizona and the decision that went into it, and just talking about playing for the city of Los Angeles. And it's a little trite and cliched or whatever, but you really do start to get a sense of what these teams mean to the people that live here, that even in the midst of unspeakable destruction, you do want to watch, you do want to listen, you do, and to be able to represent and, kind of carry the mantle for the city in those moments, it is important. And then you have these moments where they step up. The Rams have their LAFD shirts, and the
everybody.
Lakers everybody is doing something.
It's been it's so like LA. Rightfully so, has a reputation of being superficial and goofy, and we joke that everybody takes their niece to the games. When you see the 70-year-old guy with the 22-year-old woman, and it's LA is all those things, but it's reassuring to know that when the bottom falls out, when you lose everything, that people are there to help. And if you're one of these people that are affected, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
Because I heard, so I was watching KTLA this morning, and they came on and said, don't go to the Rose Bowl because they have more donations than they can handle.
Yeah, right.
And now what they need is to keep the streets clear. But you can donate to the Red Cross. You can donate. There's
LA Food Bank right now, lafoodbank.org /fire, I think it is. Yeah, /fire. If you need help, they've got stuff for you. So in Ireland, you're right. I mean, if you scan around, if you're watching local news and they show a donation center, it's just like unbelievable the way people have come through.
And these GoFundMes are, Rohan set his GoFundMe for his parents when they lost his house, I think at $45,000, and it exceeded that so quickly.
Wow.
That they have to, one of the reasons was Anthony Davis dropped $20,000.
Yeah.
Oh,
and everybody is responding exactly the way you would hope people would respond in a crisis.
Well,
and so like I said, I've never been prouder to live here. I know a lot of people are going to move out of town and they hate everything that's happened, but I never will. This place is great.
Yeah, by the way, and I also think that it's especially with the winds apparently coming in tomorrow night again. It's not over either.
No, it's not. And John, I'll go back to what you said a second ago. And Andy, you mentioned that obviously there's people, bad folks, they're going to take advantage of a terrible situation. But to your point, John, when stuff goes down, bad stuff, people want to help. They want to lean on each other. They want to give each other the support that they need. And, you see the local news that we were talking about, and they'll go to the shelters and the evacuation centers where people are. And people are clearly shaken, obviously, but almost all of them tell a story about somebody that helped them.
Yeah.
Almost all of them tell a story about this person did
here's
this
a little
for me.
Thing. The Bidwell family in Arizona has a reputation of being incompetent.
Yes.
For
and
years.
Cheap. Also cheap.
Yes. As somebody who grew up in St. Louis rooting for those Cardinals can confirm.
So Michael Bidwell, who's running the Cardinals, if you want to, we're going to have Kevin Demoff on at 1:45. and we'll try and do this justice, but if you look at how the Cardinals have treated the Rams since they decided to move this game, it's extraordinary. This is exactly how you would want a competitor to react. I mean, they gave them the Cardinals. Bidwell comes from an aviation business.
Two planes, right?
Yeah, gave them 2 planes. The field tonight is going to look like the Rams' home field at SoFi.
Right. By the way, Sam Lagana is going to be doing
Nita Strauss on the guitar. The mariachis are going to be there.
Yeah, Rams mariachi. I mean, they're
it's going to look like it's going to look like. Well, you were looking into going. Did you? How close did you get?
You know, there was no way to do it without me missing today's show, and I thought it was more important to be here for today's show than to be at the game.
But I think I know, Trav, you're going to be working it later, but I think the fact that the Cardinals are, I mean, they're leading by example. They went out of their way. You know, they didn't even have any food in that stadium because their season was over. They ordered.
I didn't think of that.
They ordered thousands of dollars in food to get to. They're bringing in all a lot of the workers there are donating their salaries to the fire relief fund. I mean, if you can, listen today at 1:45 when you hear. And Demoff's been extraordinary.
He's been great.
He has been on social media interacting with fans, and the fans are mad at him. They're mad at him that he moved the game, and he didn't move the game, by the way. The NFL moved the game. And he did. He's doing the right thing. You can't put 70,000 people in the street.
I actually think one of the things that makes it feasible for the Lakers and Clippers games to be happening tonight is the fact that the Rams game isn't there.
Right.
Because that's one SoFi tonight between fans, the players, team personnel, police, workers.
Yeah, right.
You're talking 100,000 plus just at that one place that is across the street, essentially, from
and Andy, that means probably at least 40,000 cars.
Right.
Yes.
It is more feasible now for obviously the Lakers and Clippers, just like the NFL, they take their cues from public safety officials, the state, all that stuff. But I cannot imagine that a factor making it more doable for the Lakers and Clippers to play tonight in L.A. is actually the Rams being in Arizona.
I read the quote from Demoff where he was saying that he got on the phone with a local fire authority, and he said, we were on the phone for 5 minutes, and I realized, what are we doing? Like, this is 5 minutes. He could be doing something else.
Yeah, I mean,
and he's been interacting even with the people that are mad at him. He's been available, and he's been back and forth. I mean, this is exactly how you would want the president of a team to act.
And as a Rams fan, as a Rams season ticket holder, it's a bummer to lose a home playoff game, but there are much bigger problems in the world.
Indeed, there are.
Well, and Mace, maybe they'll rally. I mean, when we had those extraordinary fires in 2018, remember they were supposed to play a game in Mexico?
Yes.
And the field got wrecked, and they were debating whether or not they could play a game here because the fires were so bad. They decided to play it. They invited
tons of first responders
to the game, and the Rams played, probably for my money, the most exciting win they've had since moving back to L.A., that 54-51.
Might be one of the great games in NFL history.
One of the great games I've ever been
And
at.
so maybe,
Top 5.
who knows? I mean, not that this is important in the big scheme of things, but Mace, I know it is to you, for somebody that's invested your whole life in the Rams season. Maybe they show up big tonight.
Maybe they do.
Maybe they play
I
great.
hope they do.
They got a great leader. They like you're talking about Kevin Demoff, the Les Sneed, to Sean McVay. They clearly have been through something quasi similar to this. So hopefully it all works out and they go out and put on a show tonight. We'll leave it to you guys. You got it the rest of the way. Super Crosstalk is brought to you by In and Out. In and Out. That's what a hamburger's all about.